All right, guys, welcome in. I'm going to do my best not to disappoint you. I've read some of the comments. I've read your emails. Guys, I don't want all the pressure to be the funny guy. It just sort of comes out naturally. So if I have a show, it's not funny. I hope you don't give up on me because we've got a lot to cover today. We have so much to cover. Now, two things I want to do. One is I went back and scoped the last show. I heard some popping. You guys may or may not have heard it, depending on if you're trained to listen for that kind of stuff. I heard it. I've done some audio testing to try to get rid of it. If my volume is too soft and you can't get it up high enough or it doesn't sound right, let me know. I can turn it back up, but I've turned it down to try to eliminate some of that popping that you guys may or may not have been hearing. So that's number one. Number two, so much has happened. So much has happened. I'm going to have to come more frequently than 2 days a week, I think. Oh, volume too low. Okay. Let me crank it back up and see. I want to make sure you're able to hear me. How about that? How about that? Does that work better? I don't want to go all the way back up where it was popping again. So now tell me. Now this is like number two here. Tell me now. Trying so hard to turn the volume up. You're amazing. Yeah, is that better? Yeah, is that worse? Yeah, is that nothing? Okay, volume is good. People have their stuff too low. Turn your volume up, people. Turn your volume up, people. I hear perfect. Tad bit louder. Oh my gosh. Okay, last correction. Last correction. And if you guys start hearing the popping again, that's your fault, not mine. You live with what you get. All right. We got a ton to cover. I mean, an absolute ton to cover. Since focusing the attention of this program, I don't know, the last couple of months or so on Charlie Kirk in the wake of his tragic passing at the age of 31, I've speculated aloud about something I firmly and deeply believe in my soul. Something happened in July of this year, July of 2025, that led to Charlie Kirk being cut down at the age of 31. Something happened in July. Does that mean nothing happened before July? No. But something specific happened in July. Others have speculated aloud about it as well. I'm not unique in this. I came across something tonight, and I want to share what I think is the 1 minute and 43 seconds in Charlie Kirk's public life that might have led to his ultimate demise. Let me repeat that because it's a lot to say. It's a big claim, and big claims require big evidence. But I want to share what I think is the 1 minute and 43 seconds in Charlie Kirk's public life that led to his demise. But first, I want to kind of foreshadow some other things I want to talk about tonight. In addition to that, I want to dig deeper into the news that Candace Owens broke Friday. And I think John Cullen had broken it as well on Twitter, but I think they were focusing on two different planes, or I don't remember who got credit for what first, and I don't want to be accused of leaving somebody out. Egyptian planes had a bad habit of showing up where Charlie Kirk showed up. Egyptian planes had a bad habit of showing up where Charlie Kirk showed up. Now, is there anything to that? Well, we'll dig around a bit on Google Trends, and I think we'll find something that gives us an idea one way or the other that our pyramid friends might have been involved in some capacity to what happened to Charlie Kirk. At least we'll raise the question. It'll be worth looking into when you see what I see. Now, I also want to take us to California. I want to look around at what appears to me to be some sort of a Ukrainian compound. A Ukrainian compound in California. I want to know why it's there. I want to know if something weird is happening there. And is it related in any way to Charlie Kirk's demise? Now, I will tell you now, I just caught up with a First Amendment lawyer in the last 20 minutes. I've been trying to reach him. Sundays are not the best days to catch up with your lawyers. And I've been advised to be very cautious with how I cover this. And I will be very cautious. Now, that's going to mean some of the screen sharing I intended to do, some of the names I was going to name, some of the addresses I was going to give, I may not be able to share, but I think I can describe it in a way where you'll understand what I'm saying. You'll have to pay attention. I'll flag it. I'll pull some red flags out, and I'll let you know what I'm saying. I'll wink. You'll know. But I got to be cautious. I got to be cautious. This thing, I don't want the winds taken out of the sail of this thing. Finally. Not finally. Also, we finally got some information we've been waiting on, at least part of it. The question was raised. I raised it. Lots of people raised it. When did TPUSA, when did Turning Point requests to use the UVU courtyard for the September 10th event. We're going to answer that. And we're going to ask what information hasn't yet been disclosed, because some of the information has not yet been disclosed. But we will be able to answer, I believe, when did TPUSA request to use the courtyard? Finally, I want to raise a question about the propriety of the way the FBI is approaching this case. For example, is the prosecution briefing Erika Kirk on the case against Tyler Robinson? I don't even know that she'd be considered a witness. Think about it. She wasn't there. She wasn't there. We're told she was at her mom's hospital room. That's fine. You don't have to be everywhere your husband is. It wouldn't be unusual for someone to be somewhere else. But she seems to indicate, and I'll play a small clip tonight where she kind of says it herself. She seems to say, yes, they're briefing me on the case. I'm aware of the prosecution's evidence. But are they really doing that? And if so, is it right? But first, in pursuit of finding out what it was that happened, what was the turning point, so to speak, that took place in July, like you, I've consumed a tremendous amount of content. I mean, a tremendous amount of content. I've watched debates. I've watched speeches. I've read articles. I've listened to podcasts. I've gone down every rabbit hole imaginable. Now, that's not true. You guys have emailed me lots of rabbit holes I have not entertained. But I've gone down a lot. Side note, if you're going to send me a video and you want me to watch it and you don't timestamp it, I'm not watching it. Like if you send me a 42-minute video and like, hey, check out the point where he says this very key thing, I'm not watching a 42-minute video. I got 400 people sending me emails with videos. If you give me a timestamp, I might scroll to that timestamp and watch it. That's just a side note. But I quite literally have stumbled into what I think could be the answer to what was the turning point. What was the turning point in Charlie Kirk's life that led to his ultimate demise on September 10th? Now, in trying to track down movement patterns, I was trying to track down movement patterns of key Turning Point employees in the days, weeks, and I guess now months after Charlie's passing, as well as the days and weeks leading up to Charlie's passing. And there's a lot of movement. People fly on a lot of private planes. I stumbled across a couple of very curious entries in a public record database, and that led me down a weird path that I'm not going to betray Charlie's desire to keep certain facts in his life private. But there's a couple of very private facts in Charlie's life he fiercely guarded, as he should have. But I ended up down a weird path, and I ended up neck deep in the answer to those private facts, and I thought, oh. And however it happened, that search led me to a months-old video, a video from back in, well, I didn't know at the time when it was. I just watched it. I don't know why I watched it. It seemed relevant. It felt relevant. Even before I clicked play, it felt relevant. You ever get those feelings? Have you ever just, like you walk into somewhere random and you feel like you're somehow connected to history and you don't know why you feel that way? That's a feeling I had. I saw this video pop up and I got this like cold feeling over my body. And I don't mean to say like I have ghosts in my room. They're saying, watch the video. That's not what I'm saying. I didn't even know at the time what date it was recorded. I didn't know why it felt relevant. But as soon as I started watching it, the reason for the feeling became pretty clear, at least by the end of the video. And it's just a 5-minute video. I'm only going to play less than 2 minutes of it tonight. And after watching it, and I watched it twice in a row before I said a word, I went back and looked at the date it was recorded. It was recorded July 17th of 2025. July 17th of 2025. And it dawned on me. That's why it felt relevant. Because the day after this recording aired on his podcast, and I guess on his radio show as well, that was the date TPUSA requested to use the courtyard at Utah Valley University. That would turn out to be Charlie Kirk's final public appearance. So he does this recording, the minute 43 I'm going to play you. I think that's the crucial minute 43. But he does this recording. He plays it for his podcast and his radio show. And the following day, TPUSA requests to use the courtyard at Utah Valley University. And I believe what he says in the video I'm about to play, I believe is it's evidence. I believe it's evidence that what he is expressing in this video directly leads in the end to his death. And here's what the video is. In the video, Charlie Kirk is giving a very short tribute to a man I didn't know he revered, but it turns out he revered this guy. I mean, revered this guy. His name's Pastor John MacArthur. I don't know if you've ever heard of John MacArthur. John MacArthur, he was a Calvinist Baptist pastor of I can't remember the name of the church, Grace something, some non-denominational church north of Los Angeles. And they never met in person. Kirk says in this video, as a matter of fact, as he's basically eulogizing him on his podcast. They never met in person, but he did lionize MacArthur. And he repeatedly praised him. And he was doing segments focused on MacArthur's messages over the year. And the reason he was talking about it on July 17th of this year is John MacArthur passed away on July 14th of this year. That was a Sunday. And here's where the timeline sort of tightens up a little bit. July 14th, John MacArthur passes. Charlie Kirk hosted a debate between Dave Smith and Josh Hammer. Wait, not really a debate. More of an unrelenting beatdown by Dave Smith on Josh Hammer. But whatever you want to call it. It took place the day before MacArthur died. 2 days before the Smith beatdown of Josh Hammer, Tucker Carlson took the stage at the same Turning Point event. And these were not Charlie Kirk's most popular moment among his donors. News reports, the reports from the participants themselves, namely Dave Smith and Tucker Carlson, they talk about just how unpopular Kirk's decision to host them was and how hostile Kirk's mood was in that moment to those who made him famous. And that's a choice of words I used right there. And I got a lot of pushback after, I think it was last week's show or last Wednesday's show. I got a lot of pushback when I called Charlie Kirk a product, but I mean it. The donors made him famous. Tucker Carlson did not make Charlie Kirk famous. Dave Smith did not make Charlie Kirk famous. Kirk's donors made him famous. And we talked in that episode, I do believe it was Wednesday, about how these organizations come to be. Organizations like Turning Point. But really any organization that relies on tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars to exist, those organizations don't make products. They don't sell widgets. They exist for one purpose and one purpose only, whether it's Heritage Foundation or Human Rights Campaign or Turning Point USA or NRA or what's the AARP. They exist for one reason and one reason only. They want to brainwash you. No, that might be a harsh word. But they exist solely to convince people to adopt their political positions. Not the organization's political positions, but the political positions of the billionaire donors who support the organization. I'll back up and I'll step you through that one more time because it's relevant to this video. It's relevant to why Charlie Kirk's no longer among the living. If I have $1 billion, and let's say I'm fascinated by, what's a niche political position? I want to go back to the gold standard. I'm tired of this fiat currency. I want some hard metal backing up our currency, our cash. It's a weird position, sure. Most people don't really have an opinion on it one way or the other. Their life's pretty good right now. They might have some concerns of what would happen. But I'm a multi-billionaire. I got $100 billion. I got $10 billion, $20 billion, whatever. I might find a young, attractive, very smart whippersnapper. We'll call him Marley Turk. And I might hire Marley Turk to come in and head up an organization where they exist to go around talking to people about the gold standard. And at first it sounds a little, whatever. So I might jazz it up a little bit. Hey, bring in something that'll bring the masses in. Maybe you talk about rock and roll. Maybe you're funny. Maybe, I don't know what it is, but bring them in. And while they're there, make sure you're brainwashing them on the gold standard. I don't care what else you really talk about. Just don't abandon that position. That's why I'm paying you the big bucks. Oh, I don't want to be the only one supporting it. So I go around to my billionaire friends who also have a thing for the gold standard. And I go convince them to donate to this organization. Hey, I got a good organization. I got this head guy, Charlie Kirk. You got to meet him. He's fantastic. I bring him in. You meet him. You fall in love with him. He's sharp. He's quick. You see videos of him debating college students about the gold standard. He's debating economists about the gold standard. And you think, hey, I want to give some money to this guy. He's pushing my message about the gold standard. It could be any political position. It could be gay and lesbian issues. It could be freedom of tobacco, freedom of firearms. It could be, it could be absolutely anything. You pick your niche political position, but this is how it works. Free market economics, libertarian economics, it doesn't matter. Von Mises Institute, all of them. Every organization you've ever been persuaded by. This is how they all work. They exist to convince masses of people to adopt the political positions of the billionaire donors. And he was really, really, really good at it. He was really good at it. He was very effective at convincing millions and millions of people to accept and adopt the political positions of his billionaire donors. I'm not saying for a second he didn't also believe them. Don't get me wrong. But I'm saying they didn't care. They don't care whether he believes them. They care whether you believe them and whether he can get you to believe them. And to the extent he was willing to keep doing that, advancing the position of his donors, he remained useful. And to the extent that he remained useful, his billionaire donors were very happy to keep paying him to do it, and they paid him very well. But the moment he was no longer useful, the moment he no longer wanted to advance their interests, let's talk about my friend Charlie Kirk, the gold standard guy that I've paid $150 million to go all over college campuses and debate economists and college students and try to convince people to help us adopt a gold standard. The moment he says, fiat currency might not be that bad. Wait a minute. What have I paid you for, pal? What do you mean fiat currency might not be that bad? I might call an emergency meeting in the Hamptons. I might call an emergency meeting. I might send some pressure. I might have some bank chairman who believes in my position give him the hard sell. The moment he no longer wants to advance the interests of the billionaire donor, well, you saw what happened. You saw what happened. You likely watched it on video over and over and over. And you got the message. So I'm going to play this short clip. It's about 2 minutes. And while it's playing, I want you to keep its context in mind. Keep this quick and dirty timeline in mind. On July 11th, Tucker Carlson spoke at TPUSA. Charlie took hell from his donors because of that. 2 days later, July 13th, Dave Smith absolutely systematically dismantles Josh Hammer. Charlie took hell for that from his donors. The day after the Dave Smith, Josh Hammer debate, Charlie Kirk's personal hero dies. John MacArthur, dead at 86. 3 days later, Charlie Kirk records this video message. And this video message, I believe, contributed in no small part to the reason Charlie Kirk's no longer here with us today.
And John MacArthur did something that is one of the most difficult, one of the most important parts of a Christian walk, is he finished well. He never bowed to the gods of this age. He never apologized for Scripture. He was a fighter through and through. And the last chapter of John MacArthur's legendary career, from fighting homosexual marriage, from fighting against the trans stuff, which he was incredible, the final part of his chapter was, will you resist government tyranny or will you submit to the will of God? And he crushed it. And he aced it. Tragically, so many other Christian pastors, and I will not say their name, they're finishing really poorly right now. There's a list of guys, men, that were good, that were strong, and they became weak during COVID and woke. John MacArthur, though, fully embodied 2 Timothy 4:7. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race, and I have kept the faith. John MacArthur and I have something in common. We're both Scots. We don't like being told what to do. We're lovers of liberty, lovers of freedom, lovers of America. John MacArthur is now in heaven with our Lord, and we will continue the fight that he started. And as you hear those bagpipes, those are for you, John MacArthur, because as a fellow Scotsman, we keep on fighting for Jesus and fighting for what's right. Second hour coming up.
All right, guys. I hope you were able to hear that and hear it well. And I hope you were able to translate what he was saying. Because, again, if you put it in the context of what he was saying, what he was saying was John MacArthur wouldn't be bullied. John MacArthur was unwilling to be bullied. He stood on principle against the biggest and gravest threats to his integrity. And John MacArthur was unwilling to relent. He was unwilling to relent. He wouldn't have it. This was a hero of his, MacArthur. It's weird to me because he didn't ever go to his church and he was like in California all the time. If I had a personal hero like that, drop in. Drop in. But maybe he didn't want to meet us. Sometimes you don't want to meet your heroes. Sometimes you don't want to meet your heroes. But I don't think it's lost on me, and I hope it's not lost on you, that the week MacArthur dies, Charlie Kirk takes the opportunity to take to the air and say, I know you've been bullying me all week. I know you've been bullying me all week. And I know you bullied me about Tucker Carlson, and I know you bullied me about Dave Smith, but I'm a lot like John MacArthur. I'm not like those other people you know. I'm not going to fold. I'm not going to fold. I don't know. I look at that and I think, you know, I think they killed him over it. I think they killed him over it. Okay, now I want to get to some fun stuff. That brought me down. I shouldn't have led with that. I should have finished with that. That would have been a good thing to finish. Oh, listen. This is a great question. Why do I keep repeating every sentence? This is something I've done for years. When you're talking to someone and you're in a conversation and you're the only person in the room, you don't have to repeat sentences. But when you're talking to someone and they're on a radio and they're in their car driving, or they're in a podcast and they're in their bedroom and they're maybe vacuuming or they're sweeping. Maybe they're cooking chili. It's that time of year. I made a pot of chili this morning, enjoyed a bowl right before I came on air. Probably a bad idea. I typically don't eat before I go on air. But when you're talking to someone who's doing other things and there's thousands of other people listening at the same time, if you don't repeat stuff, they don't hear it the first time. You can't say stuff only once. It's a great comment. A great comment. Good comments exist to make me look good, and that made me look good. I almost said that made me look good at the end, but then I don't need to repeat that. That's a little too much. All right, I want to pull up something I did. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. I get a lot of heat, and I want to use this as the perfect example here because we're going to go into some of these tonight. We're going to go into some Google Trends tonight, and I wanted to play this one for you to lead it all off. I get a lot of people that say, that Google Trends doesn't really mean anything. Well, it's because you don't understand it. And just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's not right. And just because you don't understand it doesn't mean someone else doesn't. Someone else might understand it. I mean, I understand it. I know how it works. I know the limits of this stuff. I'm sorry you don't. This is Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas. You want to guess the dates of these peaks? This is perfect. December of 2014. That was the month when all across the history of Google from January 1, 2004 to present, December of 2014 was the month that Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas was searched the most. That's what that number 100 means. It does not mean it was searched 100 times. It means it was indexed to 100. It means it was indexed to 100. Now, you come down here, guess what? June? Nobody's searching for Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas in June. It's hot. It's hot outside. Can't possibly think about opening presents. I don't want to eat peppermint candy in June. What are some of them other candies they got in around Christmas? I don't know. Some kind of cookies or something. I don't want Santa cookies. This is how this works. That doesn't mean it was searched one time that summer. It means it's indexed to a 1. It's basically 1% of the amount that it was searched in June, which means some psycho somewhere is still searching it. They're looking for it in June. It's okay, though. We don't judge. We don't kink shame. If that's what works for them, we allow it. A gingerbread, yes. Fruitcake? Hershey Kiss peppermint? Yes, yes. These are the good. Eggnog? Gingerbread? You're not going to want that stuff in June. And you're not going to want to listen to Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas. A Yule log? That's how this works. And you'll notice every December, it goes spiking up. And by March, it's pretty much gone. People are sick and tired of it. People are sick and tired of it. And then they get this time of year again, right? It's November again, right? Getting a little cooler out in the 50s during the day. It's a little rainy. It's gray. I don't know if you've ever been to Middle Tennessee between like November and March, but it's just gray every day. It's gray with a little drizzle most of the days. I agree with this. Let's do it. Is that self-serving? All right. This is how this works. I wanted to bring this up because I wanted to show you how Google Trends works, what it is capable of and what it's not capable of. With that in mind, I want to go over some searches in the Egyptian area. I'm going to look at Egypt, I'm going to look at Cairo, and I'm going to look at Alexandria because those are really Egypt as a whole. I ran these searches all 3 ways: Egypt, Cairo, Alexandria. And I'm going to try to keep them tight. But I ran some searches because I want to know, in light of what Candace and John Cullen are reporting, that there might have been Egyptian planes in the area, or let's be honest. It looks to me like there were Egyptian planes on the ground about every time that they're on the ground. There's a TPUSA event somewhere. Now, that could be correlation, right? But it could also be causation. It could be correlation, like, I don't know. Every time it rains, I see a lot of people with umbrellas. That doesn't mean umbrellas cause the rain. That does not mean umbrellas cause the rain. Could be the other way around. I don't know. I don't know what's doing it. I just know it's happening. And so I think, well, let's just look. Let's look. Let's look. So I go to the board, the big board, and I pull up the pastor. The one who was called in the very minute. The one who told us his son was covered in blood when he was not covered in blood. August 7th, Rob McCoy searched in the Cairo area. Now, hey, Rob McCoy's a mega pastor. Take it with a grain of salt or read into it. Maybe see if some other things hold true. See if there's some other August dates that pop up. What about Hunter Kozak? You remember Hunter Kozak? Hunter Kozak is the guy that asked Charlie Kirk the last question. Was anyone in Cairo searching for Hunter Kozak? Yes. Yes. In fact, 3 days before Charlie Kirk died. And July 20th, lo and behold, 2 days after they requested, TPUSA requested to be at UVU. And then 3 days before he was killed, Charlie Kirk was killed. Well, okay, those are just 2 data points. Let's see if there are any more. This is one that I keep searching over and over, even though I don't tell you guys about it all the time. I don't always mention this particular search because it doesn't really show up in the official narrative, and not a lot of people are looking into it. But if you listen, and I have, to all of the early radio messages on the day that Charlie Kirk passed away, if you listen to the radio messages and the smoke and the chaos and all the craziness, you'll hear several messages talk about the Fulton Library. There was somebody seen in tactical gear with a rifle near the Fulton Library, according to the radio messages. Now granted, we talked about this earlier. Sometimes you hear a gunshot, you think, oh, it must be somebody in tactical gear. This happens all the time. But I figured I would look it up. The Fulton Library. I mean, keep in mind, these people speak Arabic. It's not like they're doing a lot of English searches over there. I mean, let's be honest. When they get here, they don't even do a lot of English searches. They still talk Arabic when they come here. So I don't think that the Egyptians are just banging away on English stuff all the time. But that's the Fulton Library. Again, August. You'll notice a lot of these are hitting in Egypt in August. These English searches of terms related to the Charlie Kirk Association. Well, next to again, this is a search I've run a zillion times, a zillion different ways, a zillion different dates, a zillion different jurisdictions. I continually find interesting stuff on this search. This is the Clark building. You guys haven't seen it. I've not shown it on air, I don't believe, but I looked in my list, and I've searched it like 13 different times, 13 different ways in 13 different places, time domains, countries, states. The Clark building is the administrative building right next to the library, because on that radio dispatch, they say he ran from the library toward the Clark building. So I didn't know if there was a car picking somebody up over there or what. And so I searched the Clark building. Again, August. Notice there's nothing all year and then August. That was the same for Rob McCoy, nothing all year, then August. That was the same for Hunter Kozak, except his were July and September, nothing all year, and then July and September. Fulton Library, the same thing, nothing all year and then August. And now Clark building, nothing all year and then August. Well, anybody else? Any other? Well, I got a campus map. I opened up a campus map. And you know how I found the campus map? I opened it up and I Googled campus map Orem, Utah. And I found the Student Life and Wellness Center, which was right in the midst of all of that nonsense over there, where everybody was running and Student Life and Wellness Center right there. And I'll tell you, in the Life is Driving video, he pauses and he stares at the Student Life and Wellness Center long enough to make me think, all right, something's weird there. So I looked at it. August, nothing all year, and then August. And by now I'm starting to see a pattern. Nothing all year, and then August. What about the address where the rifle was found? You remember that? The rifle was found next to the chicken coop at 683 West 925 South Street, Orem, Utah. Nothing all year, and then August. Now, if this was random, the constant pushback I get on these things is that it's just random. This is just noise. This isn't signal. This is noise. I look at that and I push back and I say, well, signal would be randomly distributed from January to August if it appeared at all. And some of these just wouldn't appear. But these all appear in August. So even if you don't believe it's some government worker or some team member working on some super secret mission in Cairo or Alexandria or Egypt, even if you don't believe that, you have to ask yourself, why in the hell are all these terms related to Charlie Kirk showing up in August? No search all year, and then August. Believe it or not, I'm not done. You would think by now I'm done. What about the building where Phil Lyman was when the shot went off? What about the building where I kind of thought a shot might have originated from at one point? I don't know whether I still believe that or not. But the Sorensen Student Center. Again, nothing all year. Okay, not August, September. We're moving from like August 3rd, very slowly, slice by slice. Now we've kind of moved into September. And you've got to admit, this doesn't look very random. You might argue it's random. But you got to admit, if you were rolling the dice and the dice hit 6 10 times in a row, you might want to question whether you're playing dice with an honest actor. I got one more here for you, and I actually have a lot more, but I've got one more here I want to show you right now. But this one's you're going to have to really go back in your memory bank here. Do you remember Candace Owens covered a picture? There were 3 guys in the picture. And these guys, I think, had allegedly walked the path they said that Tyler Robinson walked. You remember that? One of them was named Gernot Omer. I think he was Austrian? Not Australian. I think he was Austrian. More Arnold Schwarzenegger, less wildlife guy. What was his name? The guy that got hit in the heart? That's not a knife. This is Gernot Omer, September 6th. No, this is not the goth nightclub guy. That was a different guy that they thought might be named Robbie Hield. I'm not convinced of that. It might be. Steve Irwin. That was his name. Steve Irwin. More Arnold Schwarzenegger, less Steve Irwin. That's Gernot Omer. And you see how we're moving right along the timeline? Nothing all year long. The first search pops up in July, and it's Hunter Kozak. And then all we have are these searches in August. Well, believe it or not, I lost your comment to be able to pull it down. Oh, there it is. Believe it or not, I kept going. Now, these are a different pattern because I did this on different days. So let me pull this one down. I'll get back to the other ones in a little bit. Let me pull that one down for a second. Nope, not that one. Nope, not that one. Ooh. I have a story coming up. I've talked to very few people about this. It's not related to Charlie Kirk, I don't think. I have a story coming up that is so big. It blew my mind. And I have shared even the idea that I'm working on this story with very few people. And it blew their mind. And I shared the details of this story with a couple of people. This is all Google Trend stuff. This is so bulletproof. It's working on a story that's almost 20 years old. It is so bulletproof, it's going to answer a fundamental question that has plagued the world for 20 years. I just pulled up the. I'm really thankful that I wasn't sharing that whole screen. I pulled up the that screen and I thought, because I thought it went out and then it did not. Where is my other search list? Is this it? No, that's the secret story I'm working on. Oh gosh. Oh, here's real quickly. Do you remember? This is a little sidetrack from Egypt. But I don't want to forget to cover this, and you guys are always nice to allow me to take these little detours. Do you remember a guy that was walking? I'm pulling up the picture now. Was walking with Charlie Kirk before the event last week. We talked about it Wednesday. He was walking with Charlie Kirk before the event. It's that guy right there. You remember him? A lot of people thought he might have been a Hollywood stunt guy or made fake blood come out. They're a nope, not that one. That one. I'll get to that, young Cindy Lou. A lot of people thought he might be a stunt guy. A lot of people thought he might be what. It turns out it's a pastor's brother. The guy's name's Jack Hibbs. Jack Hibbs. He preaches in the same denomination. I think it's a denomination or the same structure, corporate structure. I'm not sure what it is. But the same group that Pastor Rob McCoy preaches in. It's some sort of Pentecostal supergroup. And they have different locations. I don't know if it's one church with different locations or many churches that fall under the same kind of governing structure. I'm not exactly sure how that works. But that's Jack Hibbs' brother. I saw him referred to as Old Agent 47 the first time somebody sent me an article about him. That's him right there in the white hat with the white beard. I was fishing around because this is what I do. I was looking for more information about the guy. And I came across this very interesting page of his. His real name's Burton Hibbs. Burton Hibbs 180. He's only got 7 subscribers and 37 videos. You'll notice I'm not one of the subscribers. But he's got these videos, and they're all drone videos. They're all drone videos. What are the odds? What are the odds that the guy who begged his brother and Frank Turek to be able to meet Charlie Kirk and show up at the UVU event was a drone operator? That may mean nothing. It may mean absolutely nothing. But it's a data point, right? It's a data point. It can't mean nothing. It's got to mean something. It might just mean something small. But I'm telling you, this guy hung around afterwards. You remember the Life is Driving video? He was in so many different clips of that guy's video. He was in so many other people's videos. I've watched a dozen or more videos of people cleaning up after the fact. And this old dude is walking around on the phone, calling people, texting people, looking in the grass. I don't know what he was doing. But I know this. He arrived with the Kirk team. He did not leave with them. Now, it might be he was stuck there because they all left in a hurry and they forgot about old Bruce or Burton, whatever his name is. That could be. That could be. I thought that was interesting. Sidetrack. This is the type of stuff I do. I told a friend of mine tonight, I want to open like a members page where on nights where I dedicate, because I'll do this, I'll dedicate like 2 or 3 hours to researching for the program, that you get to see my ADHD brain going crazy, searching, running down rabbit hole, and that way I can talk to you and I can get ideas from you and you can get ideas from me and we can like have a group project. But I can't do it with 4,000 people. So I'd have to have like some sort of members only page or something where we could just research together. I think it would be fun. I think it would be fun. I don't know how many of you would want to do it, but I think it would be fun. What are my credentials? I'm awesome. I'm hilarious. I'm well-read. Very curious. I think curiosity is a lost art. And here's how I know it's a lost art. As I'm going through some of this stuff, a lot of you guys will email me and I get your hostile emails. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, Baron. That was so stupid. How could you be such an idiot? Here's a single article easily disproving everything you said from minute 13 to minute 19. Okay, great. Data point. It got you thinking. I'm not saying I'm here to solve the Kirk case. I don't see any magnifying glasses. I don't have one of those. Well, actually, I do have a hat up there that I guess could be one of those detective hats. I could put my detective ID in here. I don't have one of those. I'm just a backbeat country lawyer with a very curious mind. And I get on something and I will not give up on it. I become like a PhD in the topic. That is my credential. Curiosity. It is a lost art. Most of you guys that email me complaining don't have it. Don't have it. I'll give you an idea. If you believe Tyler James Robinson learned about the Charlie Kirk event a week before it happened when they announced it, decided in the moment, because he had to do it quickly, decided in the moment, you know what, I should take this guy out. And in 1 week from learning that Charlie Kirk will be in the state of Utah, and not even close, it's like 4 hours away from his house. Not like he was next door. It's not like he was showing up in the treehouse in Tyler Robinson's backyard where the furries gathered. That's not where he was. He was on a college campus hours away. If you believe he heard about it, I don't even know how he would hear about it. Is he on the TPUSA website every day? Wonder where Charlie Kirk's going to be. Wonder where Charlie Kirk's going to be. Wonder where Charlie Kirk's going to be. I'll give you an idea. This website hadn't been updated in 3 months. How do I know that? I went to archive.org. I looked at it. You go to archive.org. You can look at the website. You would have to believe that Tyler James Robinson is so keyed in on Charlie Kirk that he's like hitting F5 every day, waiting on that website to get refreshed, waiting on it to get updated. And then when it finally gets updated, he scans and he goes, oh my gosh, he's going to be near me next week. I better get Grandpappy's rifle and get tightened up. I got to get it zeroed in, right? How did he know it was even zeroed in? Has anyone told us where he zeroed the rifle in and what date he did it? And what distance he did it for? Because at that point, he doesn't even know where Charlie Kirk's going to be at UVU. He just knows he's going to be there. I looked at the invitation. It didn't say the particular location where he was going to be when it was first announced. You would have had to sign up and get the tickets. Did he sign up and get the tickets? That would be an easy question for the feds or the Utah State Police to answer, or the Washington County or Utah County Sheriff. Has anyone answered how he knew where he was going to be in particular? Or did he just show up that day with Grandpappy's 30-06 wandering around going, Charlie? Because that's ludicrous. But you would have to believe he learns about it somehow, even though he hangs out with furries and plays Magic the Gathering, not exactly Charlie's set. Those are typically not the people you're going to find at a Charlie Kirk rally. I venture to say he's the first ever person who hangs out with furries and plays Magic the Gathering on a regular basis who's ever attended a Charlie Kirk rally, if he was even there. You would have to believe he learned of the rally somehow figured out where it was going to be, got access to Granddaddy's rifle, zeroed it in at some distance where he knows how accurate it is. Is it zeroed at 50, 100, 200, 300, 500? What was he shooting? I used to shoot a 22-250 that was zeroed at 400 yards. Why? Because we went groundhog hunting in Pennsylvania. And that's about how far away they are. And if you shot them closer than that, you would have to account for it. And you account for it differently. It's not always just linear. And if they were farther away, you'd have to account for that. And again, differently, it's not linear. And this is what I'm saying. The story starts to break down when you actually think about it. Not only that, he has to figure out where will he be able to take a shot? Where would he find an unguarded location? I would think if I'm showing up at a Charlie Kirk event, most of the witnesses that have been interviewed, if you listen to them carefully, they all say the same thing. They were shocked at how little security there was. Tyler James Robinson wasn't, apparently. If you believe the official narrative, he wasn't shocked at all. Apparently, he didn't expect there to be security. He knew he could get on the roof, lie there safely, and go unnoticed, get a shot off, and escape. Either that, or he was on a suicide mission. Those are your only two options. You'd also have to know which roof to get on, and that it would have a clean line of sight to the stage. You'd have to know how high Charlie was going to be. And you'd have to know that Charlie was actually sitting higher than he usually is, probably to account for the bowl effect. But if you go look at other tour stops, Charlie Kirk actually usually sat much lower, ground level. His chair would be on the ground level, similar to how my chair is now, with my desk right here. No, but not Tyler James Robinson. He somehow knew that Charlie would be elevated, be in that area, that he could climb. Remember, he supposedly only got into position about 30 seconds before he took the shot. This is the official story. This is the official story that you've been told, that some people believe. That he learned of the event, got the rifle, somehow got it zeroed in for the correct distance, or at least knew how to make changes for the distance. Knew which buildings would be unsecured, which ones he'd have roof access on with a clean line of sight. How he could get off the building. Remember, he didn't get off the building the same way he got on the building. And to get off the building, he had to step into a vent that he just happened to know was there. He had to know where the chicken coop was. He had to know where the chicken coop was. He had to know. I mean, if you look at a map, I knew instantly where the rifle was. The moment they told me on the air that it was in a wooded area, I knew immediately where it was. Why? There's no other wooded area there. It's the only wooded area in town. It's a desert. It's the only wooded area in town. Just happens to be right off the campus. But you wouldn't know that by looking at a map, that you could get in there and be relatively unseen. You wouldn't know any of this by looking at a map. No one could look at a map and determine, oh, I know I can get on that roof. I know that'll have a clean line of sight to wherever they happen to put Charlie. It's a big campus. Maybe they put him indoors. Maybe they put him on the other side of the campus. If they put him on the other side of the Hall of Flags, you don't get a shot. If they put him out on an athletic field, you're in the wrong building. You have to know all of this. All of it. Before you go. How? I'm curious. That's my credentials. I look at this story and say, no, absolutely not. No way. End of story. That didn't happen. I don't know what happened, but I know that didn't happen. And because they try to force you to swallow this ridiculous story, like Building 7 fell in its own footprint at free fall speed without being struck by anything. And having two buildings between it and the Twin Towers and being a couple hundred yards away. Then you start thinking, oh my gosh, I know that's not true. Did they set explosives? Did they put charges? Did they have some? Were there vans there? Then your mind goes crazy. Same thing with Tyler James Robinson. All of a sudden you're like, was it an exploding mic? Did his necklace explode and shoot up and hit him in the neck? Were they faking his death and he accidentally died and now they're all looking at each other like, oh hell. Or were they faking a gunshot and he accidentally died? Now they're really looking at each other like, oh hell. I mean, you get crazy. Was he shot by a drone doing 300 miles an hour? Was somebody behind him with some sort of laser thing that reflected in Frank Turk's phone? Was there some guy squeezing something? I saw this the other day, and it looked pretty damn convincing, to be honest with you. But was there somebody squeezing a detonating device behind the scenes or some sort of remote trigger? You get all kinds of crazy conspiracy theories when you try to get me to believe that Tyler James Robinson did all of that in a week. All of it in a week. I refuse to believe it. I'm curious, Cindy Lou. That's my credential. Law school didn't make me curious. Practicing law for 20 years didn't make me curious. Working at banks didn't make me curious. Working at insurance companies didn't make me curious. None of those credentials back there made me curious. I was born curious. My mom and dad, the DNA made me curious. Some people have it. Some people don't. You know who I know doesn't have it? The people who email me saying, I don't know why you're wasting your time on this. Tyler James Robinson already confessed. His DNA's on the gun and the screwdriver. We know who did it. To them, I say, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I did not intend to get that riled up. But I saw her question, and I thought, Lord have mercy. What are my credentials? And here's the thing. I don't even know that she was questioning my credentials. She might have been. If she was, she just got an earful. If she was not, oh, I can't do that one. All right. I want to play real quickly a video. How am I going to do this without sharing? Oh, there we go. I'm going to play real quickly about 60 seconds of a video, maybe less. This video was sent to me by 100 people. I couldn't figure out why, and I still don't know why. But it's 4 witnesses from the event talking. And I guess they sent it to me because not a lot of witnesses are talking. Most of them are scared by the gag order. These guys apparently are not. One of them, while he was talking, I thought, what did he just say? Because he didn't repeat himself, whoever made fun of me for me repeating myself all the time. Because he didn't repeat himself, I had to go back and rewind it. Had he repeated himself, I'd go, oh, that's what he said. But here's what he said. I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to play this. And I want you to see if you hear what I heard. And then I want to ask you if it comports to what other people acted like. I don't think that's going to work. That's not going to play the sound. I think this will work. Let me do this. Hold, please. Technical difficulties. There we go. Nope, that's not going to play the sound. Let me pull it up on YouTube because that'll help. Oh, gosh. That's terribly loud. Stop. I'm sorry, guys. I had 2 different browsers open, 2 different types of browsers, and apparently they don't share well. And so I'm going to open this in a Chrome browser because that seems to play along well with StreamYard. I think this is important, though. Yeah, here we go. It's even timed up right. Amen, brother. Amen. All right, let me play this right here. I want you to listen to what this guy says his first reaction was when he heard there was a shot. Very important, in my opinion. And then I want to ask, what did Mikey McCoy act like he thought when there was first a shot? I'm not piling on Mikey McCoy. I just, in light of everything we talked about last week, I want to get your take on this.
I can just tell it what I want.
Oh, gosh. Oh, please. Something's still playing. Oh, that's still playing. Go away. All right, now. I think we're ready. Where are we? Oh, we're watching fitness videos. All right, here we go. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Here we go. All right. I want you to hear this guy speak, and you tell me if you believe the same thing was felt by everybody there.
Almost impossible to process that what's happening. There's no way this is happening here. And we took a knee. I was there with my son, took a knee immediately. Our first thought was, this is a mass shooting. There's going to be more.
All right, our first shot was, this is a mass shooting. Our first thought was, this is a mass shooting. That's their first thought. This is a mass shooting. Did you get the impression that Mikey McCoy's first thought was, this is a mass shooting? Because he walked right behind where Charlie Kirk had just been shot. Like, he had just been shot, and he walked right behind it. That was a see-through screen, by the way. You can watch people walking behind it. If I thought it was a mass shooting, I would do what Frank Turk did. I would hit the ground. I would scramble. As soon as he said that, I thought Mikey was one of the only people who didn't act like he thought it was a mass shooting. But listen to what happens here.
Shots, so let's be careful. Let's watch out. Can we find the shooter? And then when we only heard that first shot, we knew, okay, this was targeted specifically for Charlie. So now let's get people out of here. Let's clear the place. And still on our way walking to find my other son, who was on campus as well, we were just dumbfounded, shocked, in total disbelief of what had just happened.
I feel bad for this guy in a way I don't feel bad for a lot of people. Oh, I got a lot of super chats I got to get to. I feel bad for this guy. He's there with his two kids. The enormous weight of the world that is on your shoulders when you're in danger around your children. I mean, what do you tell your kids when they're scared at night? It's okay, honey. They're no monsters. Daddy won't let you get hurt. I have 8 children, for those that don't know. I have a lot of kids. You know how many times I've had to tell them that daddy won't let them get hurt while they're sleeping at night? That daddy's not going to let anybody come in. That daddy's not going to let a monster jump out of the closet or out from under the bed. And when there's a gunshot that goes off and you're with one of your kids right next to you and another boy is somewhere on campus and you don't know where, I felt terrible listening to that guy tell that story. Recount that story. I felt terrible for him. But it was interesting to me, and I paused it. I thought, what the hell did he just say? Like, what a normal reaction. I heard a gunshot, and I thought it might be a mass shooter. Well, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Mike McCoy did not act like he thought there was a mass shooter. He walked at very slow speed directly behind the guy who had just gotten shot. Like, that is as clear of evidence that he did not think it was a mass shooter as anything I've ever seen in person. You will never convince me he thought another shot was coming. And if he didn't think another shot was coming, why not? Because everybody else in the place went down. Literally, within 3 seconds, everyone at the place was down on the ground or scrambling for their lives. I am getting so excited. Things are falling off my bookshelf. That's why I keep looking over there. A hat just came down. Or that, or I got a ghost. I hope not. All right. Stoked for a Barron show. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, brother. I hope you've enjoyed yourself so far. We're just getting started, and I'm already an hour in. Matthew Harrison, thank you. Thank you for that. Josh Hammer, Dave Smith debate is what happened. I think there might be something to that. I'm hearing wrong. Kash Patel is about to be out. Trump telling Tulsi to investigate, but Kash not wanting her to heads clashing at White House over this. Kimberly, I would love, gosh, I don't know if I want Kash out or not. I would almost rather the investigation just go on without him. I don't think he's wrong all the time. I think he's wrong on Epstein. I think he's wrong on Kirk. And if he's stopping the release of any other information we deserve to see, I think he's wrong on that. I'm a fan of disclosure. This was supposed to be the most transparent administration in history. That's what I was told. That's what I voted for. I got a Kash Patel story that I'm going to play in just a little bit. Doo-doo is getting real. Thank you, sir, for your time. Thank you, Sandy. Patriot over 50. Are you going to set up memberships? Thanks, York. I think so. I think that's the only way to crowd control. Because as you see, if I go live, thousands of people join, I can't have like a research community with that. But if I had a few hundred members and you guys jumped on and maybe half of you here and half of you there, we could really have a nice little discussion. And I could give links and people could come in and I think it would be fun. I would have to figure out the price point. Like at what point, I wouldn't do it for I would do it for the money. I wouldn't do it for free. But at what point though, is it too limiting? And at what point is the price so low that it's too high? Like if it's 10 cents a month, and I would join a research community with someone I watched for 10 cents a month. Would I for $100 a month? Probably not. I might for 10. I don't know. I just said there's got to be some number there where it's more about isolating the number of people and getting the people who really want to be there than it is making money or some lottery system or something. I don't want to do that. I've heard Kimberly, Calvinism has some beliefs that meant line up with Kimberly, man, we got to work on your punctuation, girl. I heard Calvinism has some beliefs that meant line up with scripture. So I'm surprised he idolized him that much. Tulsi needs to see this research. I agree. Tulsi needs to see the research. I think everyone in America does. I think he grew up Calvinist. He grew up at a Presbyterian church. I think most of those are Calvinist. And so, in my opinion, it lines with it. I'm not going to betray his trust on things. He obviously idolized MacArthur. That's all I got to say. He obviously idolized John MacArthur. It's just obvious in his life that he idolized the guy. Whether or not he agreed with every point of Scripture. I don't agree with everything the Pope says, but I'm still Catholic, right? I'm sure you don't agree with everything your preacher says, but you're still Baptist, or you're still Pentecostal, or you're still Lutheran, or you're still Methodist, or whatever. People disagree with stuff. Send Barron some questions, Ian. I'll answer anything. I feel like this vid was Charlie's turning point 6 months ago. I think this kid really got Charlie thinking about Israel. It's still up on Charlie's channel, calling Charlie debates veteran on Holocaust. I have not seen that video. I'll check it out. I will check it out, Aaron. Thank you for the generous donation there. What do you think of Range Day Bro's ballistic dummy test shot from right back? Looked very similar to Charlie's movement, broke his necklace. I watched that. I like Range Day Bro. I got a text. Was it a text or a Facebook message or an Instagram message or a Twitter message? I got some message from a dear friend of mine who no longer lives near me, who said his wife was watching Range Day Bro and heard about this show and now is watching this show. So if she's watching and he's watching, hey, I don't remember if it was a text or a Facebook message. You've helped this case tremendously. Thank you, Fran. Thank you. I don't know that Kash Patel agrees. We'll hear from him in a minute. Kristen Bartle, 1999. Undoubtedly, the 7K clan will be joining soon, just like they infiltrated our Candace book club. Man, I wish someone would pay me to post. I would do shows for $7,000. You give me $7,000, I'll do a show on a lot of things. Ian, the specific courtyard locations of Charlie's event wasn't announced until 9/9 by the UVU review. So Tyler couldn't have known until the day before what shot he had to take. Ian, I have not heard that. If that's true, think of everything I just said and condense the timeline from 1 week to 1 day. If that's true, I'd have no reason to doubt you. But if oh my gosh, this is big news to me. I need to check this out. If that's true, and people still believe Tyler James Robinson shot Charlie Kirk, I have no hope for humanity. None. None. Absolutely none whatsoever. I don't even care. Listen, I'm to the point where I don't care if he comes on TV and says, Tyler James Robinson, who lived with the furry, who played Magic the Gathering in a dirty house with Doritos wrappers everywhere. I'm the guy. I did it myself. I scaled the building. I know I didn't look very athletic, but I leap with the best of them. Cat-like reflexes. I think he might have been the most athletic person there that day. Whoever it was that came off that building, that's a lot. I came off a rope in a gym one time and broke my leg at about the same height. Actually, I was lower than that because I was on my way down already. I'm just telling you guys, it's a big drop for someone to do the first time. So you're telling me the day before the Charlie Kirk event, Tyler James Robinson would finally have the information he needs to know where the event will be held. And all they say is the UVU courtyard. Did they show where the stage was? Did they show how high he was going to be? He's able to then, at some point in that 24 hours, know how far his rifle zeroed in. He's able to know which roofs are going to be unguarded. I mean, guys, it doesn't work in 24 hours. It didn't work in a week. It doesn't work in 24 hours. Period. End of story. Thank you for the donation, Ian. Very generous. Maxidoto, A money. I got some more A money. You gave me some A money, or somebody did last week. You had me at ADHD. Thanks, mate, from Aussie. Also, big knife. That's not a knife. That's the only thing I know in Australian. I don't speak Australian, but I do know that line. Everybody knows that line. Shannon Brown, 614. Baron, how do we make them see what we see? Or Tyler gets sentenced. End of story. It depends on how compromised he is. You know that's the currency, right? That's the currency that makes politics go around. That's the currency that makes public interest groups go around. That's why they hire certain people in certain roles, because they're compromised. If they weren't compromised, they wouldn't work there. That's why politicians hire certain staffers. They're compromised. That's why certain politicians get donations to get elected. They're compromised. I wish I had better news for you. And if he's compromised, he's not going to want to go to prison for the compromised stuff. He'd rather go for being murdered. Are the Google searches for Google Earth? I don't know what that means. I wish I did. For $10, I would love to answer your question. Are the Google searches for Google Earth? Oh, I think I see what you're saying. Is Google Trends pulling from the Google Earth address inputs? That's a good question. That's a good question. I should know the answer to that. I don't. I'm embarrassed to say I don't, but I'm not going to lie to you. Karen Lackavelli. Wow. Thank you very, very much. That was just generous beyond generous. I'm humbled. I don't even know what to say at this point. I got so much more to cover, and we've already been going over an hour. I'll go quick. It is surprising how censored the super chats are. It's a crapshoot. Are they censored? Am I censoring them? David Barnacastle Jr.? I don't think I'm censoring. I think I've read every one that's come up the last 3 shows. So Tyler had 1 week to plan this so-called attack. Wouldn't he be searching from his town on Google all the details of CK's visit the week prior? Yes, probably. That's a good call, and we could definitely look at that. If what Ian just said is true, he might have been looking some of that stuff, but he wouldn't even know this particular location, so the buildings and all that wouldn't have quite as much relevance. But here's the problem. Searching a UVU campus location from South Utah. Like, I got a kid in college. I got a kid going to college next year. You know how many campus maps I've looked at? I mean, I know the names of the buildings. I know where the parking lots are. I know where the safe places to walk are. It's my girl. I'm not going to let her go and be in danger, right? And so my guess is other people in southern Utah are doing the same thing. Egypt? Maybe not. Maybe not. One of two names in the airplane from Egypt popped in Google Trends in early September. What names? I saw where John Cullen had posted two names, and then he pulled them down, so I took them out of my searches. I think he pulled them down. I wasn't able to find them again. Maybe I need to fix that. I've still got the searches. I just need to go back and get it. But yes, they did pop in September in Egypt, in Alexandria. I told you that at least a week. Thank you, Steelers girl. I don't know what that means. I wish I did. How familiar are you with Destiny and the Unblank America Tour Discord? I've heard Destiny's name. I could not pick him out of a lineup. I think it's a him. I could not. I'm sure there's a stripper named Destiny somewhere. Not familiar with her either. Not familiar with her either. For the record. I'm not familiar at all. I know that Hunter Kozak allegedly had some involvement with it. That's all I know. Ian Carroll, search Google UVU review. CK is coming to UVU. Article should be first up. I will do that probably tomorrow. I will do that tomorrow. In fact, let me do what I do when I get a comment that I want to follow up on. There we go. Took a screen cap of it. Georgie, come along. $10. That picture is weird, dude. What is that? It's like a take of the screen picture. Do you think Tulsi could actually take this investigation over? Are you asking me if the ODNI has legal authority to take it over? I don't know. I don't know how that works. Plus, remember, Zionism cannot admit they're wrong. They would be denying God in the skewed views. I didn't know that either. I don't follow Zionism particularly carefully. I don't know their tenets. Defenestratio. Are you throwing people out of windows, bro? You know that's what defenestration means. Hey, I'm guaranteeing you of the 4,706 people watching right now, at least one of them learned something new today. Defenestration means chucking people out of windows. All right. See email sent today. All right. Many have since been scrubbed. What is Cimarron Drive? Oh, Tyler's home. What? Don't put his home on the... Well, I don't care. He's accused of murder. Put it on there. Have you looked up searches of bullet caliber used for assassination, mainly 30? Yes. I've looked up Mauser 98. I've looked up 5.56, 2.23, all the popular rounds. I even looked up... Actually, I had a really good email that led me down a mathematical rabbit chase. I even looked up this super hot 55 grain round that can be shot out of a gun like that. And the amount of ground it covers just so happens to conveniently end up about where I suspected a shooter might have been. So that's a trail I'm running down currently. Gosh, I want to cover the big story. That's all I can think about after seeing that sheet just a few minutes ago. I want to cover it so bad. You guys are going to love this story. It's going to change the world. I really believe that. It will change the way people look at. I won't even give you that hint. It's going to change a lot. Gosh, I want to cover it right now. See, this is part of the ADHD. I'm going to pull that comment back up. This is part of the ADHD. I get something stuck in my head and I don't want to move on. Like, I don't want to go back to Egypt. I don't want to go back to Erika Kirk and Elizabeth McCoy. I want to go to the new story. That's like a kid on Christmas. I want to open the present, but I can't do it. I'm not going to do that. Previous Supermen, Google won't let us put in certain words. My last one wouldn't send with CK's full name in it. Really? I abbreviated it and was allowed to send it. I didn't know that. Should I stop putting Charlie Kirk's name in my titles? I did not know that. They are censored by YouTube. They won't let them be Probably sent, since B and N are right next to each other. They won't let them be sent. Ah, I got you. They need to do a DNA test on the kids to make sure they are not Mikeys. I don't think that's the bigger concern with Mikey. I don't think impregnating women is Mikey's biggest issue. Have you seen him? I mean, I'm not saying anything. But I mean, I'm saying things. I know he's married. Let me just say this. I would be shocked if those kids were Mikey's. I mean, that could be someone else. I mean, that happens, right? But of all the people, that's like, it's like your best friend is Liberace. And you're worried about Liberace impregnating your wife? I mean, is that a thing? No. Freddie Mercury. Actually, I think he went both ways. I just don't see it. I'm not saying anything about Mikey. I'm sure he's amazing. That's all I hear. The amazing Mikey McCoy. He was so amazing. Covered in blood as he was. Saving lives, directing traffic, calling planes. Oh, I've got a detail on the planes that were called. But I don't think a DNA test on the kids is quite the problem. I just caught your username. Tyler climbed down behind the glass offices. I don't know what that means. I saw a guy jump down. If that's supposed to be Tyler, he jumped. Or if it wasn't Tyler, then, I mean, show me the video of Tyler climbing down some glass. He's Spider-Man? Back when the searches began, CK was doing interviews, podcasts about the Epstein files, and by 7/21, he was pressuring the Trump administration into releasing the files. Want to bet it comes back to those files. I thought of that. Look, he, in order, criticized Israel for the Gaza response. I mean, I'm not making a judgment one way or the other. I'm just telling you he did it. He did that. He criticized Israel for the Gaza response. He questioned whether or not Israel might have egged it on and let it happen. Again, I'm not saying that. I'm saying Charlie Kirk said that. Said it on Patrick Bet-David, for example. Said it on his radio show. About, I've been to Israel. You can get from here to there in 45 minutes, and it took him 6 hours. Was there a stand-down order? These were all things Charlie Kirk was saying, not your humble host. Don't strike me, YouTube. I didn't say it. I'm reporting on it. Then he went on to pressure Trump not to strike Iran, if you remember. Then he went on to pressure to release the Epstein files and to go on to say that he thought Epstein might work for Israel. Like, again, these are Charlie Kirk's words, not mine. These are the types of things that if you say, you might get a strike from some YouTube. I didn't say any of them. He did. And now he's dead. And he had Candace. He said he was going to have Candace on. And he had Tucker Carlson on the stage. And he had Dave Smith on the stage. And now he's dead. Is all that related? I mean, I guess it could have been some guy that lived with a furry in a dirt pile in southern Utah playing Magic the Gathering and learning the day before, apparently, where Charlie was going to be. Pulled out the old Mauser 98. Could be. One or the other. It's one or the other. Matless X, like Malcolm X, but Matless X. Why isn't the state of Utah running this investigation instead of the feds, just like Texas didn't run the investigation on 11/22/1963? The 11/22/1963 involved a federal official, so the feds would have a right to be there. I think Utah is running this investigation. But I think the feds are deeply involved. The feds are like the mafia. They're there to help. They're there to make sure nothing happens to your business. That's what they're there for. Make sure nothing. That's a nice business you got there. Be a shame if something happened to it. Steelers gal, the fact that Pastor McCoy has 2 sons involved in Turning Point, one in charge of the money, the other in charge of Turning Point. One in charge of money, one in charge of production raises. Did he have 2 sons there? I heard that again today. Maybe I'm just out of it. I'm not doubting you. I think that's weird. It's also got a daughter-in-law there. Don't forget that. Also got a daughter-in-law there. All right, let me go. I think I'm caught up on those. Here we go. Back to Egypt we go. Remember, it all started. Nothing in January, nothing in February, nothing in March, nothing in April, nothing in May, nothing in June, nothing in July. And then it all kicked up in August. The month before Charlie Kirk died. Ladies and gentlemen, the trend continues. Campus map, Orem, Utah. Why did I search this? Because when I was looking for a campus map, that's the search term I used. And I thought maybe Egyptians would do the same thing. They seem like pretty smart people. I'm a pretty smart guy. I looked up campus map, and I couldn't remember the name of the college because I don't know why, but I put Orem, Utah. And that's what I did. And so I thought they might do it. And looky there, August 3rd. Again, if this was random, why are they all hitting in August? If it's random, why are they holding in August? If they are random, prove it. Last time I looked in Cairo, this time I ran a few of these same searches in Alexandria because there is an intel office in Alexandria. There's a naval office in Alexandria, and there's a warfare office in Alexandria. August 3, Rob McCoy. Again, nothing, and then August. What about the love of Charlie Kirk's life? The grieving widow. Maybe they wanted to know the effect it would have on her, and they got curious around August 14 this time in Alexandria. What about our good friend, Mikey McCoy? Flintstones meet the... August 26th? Oh, you're not watching. Let me pull it up, shall we? The Mikey McCoy, the amazing Mikey McCoy. August 26th this time. Again, I don't know why there's nothing in January, nothing in February, nothing in March, nothing in April, nothing in May, nothing in June, nothing in July. Everything hits in August. What about Elizabeth McCoy? This is Mikey's beloved. September 4th. September 4th. Guys, I'm starting to get freaked out. Something else just fell off my bookcase. That's weird. I don't know. Is it a ghost? You've heard this stuff, right? Did you hear it in the background? That's the 3rd thing that's fallen off my bookcase since we've been here. Is it the amount of shaking I'm doing? I'm getting animated. I don't typically get this animated in this office. Okay, so that is Alexandria, Cairo, Alexandria and Cairo. Again, both cities, nothing at all until you get to August. Is that a little weird to you? It's a little weird to me. It's a little weird to me. If it's not weird to you, I can't help you. I can't help you. I was told I can't show that. Let me do it the best I can real quick. I made a spreadsheet of all the people who lived at the address. Let me give a disclaimer here. No matter what you hear on this program, I'm not stating it as an absolute fact. What I'm saying is their evidence exists in public form, an open source form, that anyone can go retrieve and see the exact same thing I saw. And if you look on these open source things, I'm talking government databases that are available in public, deeds, titles, transactions, places like White Pages, People Search, that kind of stuff. I have my favorites that I use, but everybody has their favorites they use. Some of these are subscription services. Some of these are free. All of them are public. All you have to do is pay the money or type in the address. But the fact that this information exists gives you no right to contact these people, gives you no right to email them, text them, Twitter them, or anything else. Do not do it. Don't do it. Just listen, do your own research, bring that to public view. Do not contact these people. With that said, and following the advice of counsel, I'm going to be very cautious how I cover this. I found out the address where Elizabeth McCoy was raised. I pulled it up on Google Earth. I was expecting to see a house because that's where most people live. I did not see a house. I saw a compound, and it was weird. It had apartments on it. I mean, this is like in a neighborhood, but it's like an acre that goes back like maybe 5 times as long as it is wide. I wanted to show you the map of this, the Google Maps, but I was advised that probably isn't smart. But it's like 5, 6 times as long as it is wide. There's kind of a main house, but it almost has like a David Koresh-like look to it. It's like cobbled together. And then there's like a row of apartments in the backyard. There's some kind of like maybe like tiny home looking thing on, but not like you would see on HGTV, like something small and weird. Kind of in the front yard or the side yard. And then, there's got to be 15 cars on this property. And again, it's in a neighborhood. And there's like 10 trash cans. You can see them on the satellite. Like 10 bins of trash cans. And I thought, what the hell is this place? And then I start, because I have the ability to do this, I start looking for everyone who has reported in some capacity having lived there in the past like 10, 15 years, 20 years. And it's a lot. And the names all sound the same. And when you Google the names, the surnames, they all come from Ukraine. Almost all. I think them all. I don't want to say all because there'll be one that doesn't. But we're talking about, obviously, her maiden name was Kravchuk. I'm not telling you anything you didn't know. We talked about that last week on the program. We're talking about last names like Prikito, Zakevich, Dobova, Nikolenko, Bubniak, Natalie, Pinkovich. These are just a sampling of the names. A lot of people have lived there, and I don't know why. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what they're running out of there, but I know this. That's a lot of Ukrainians. And I know this. I think her dad's like I don't want to even say what he does for a living. Doesn't do something that should make a lot of money. It's a multi-million-dollar property. Charlie Kirk was hard on the Ukrainians there at the end, making fun of Zelensky and suggesting perhaps we had a better use of resources, kind of taking a prioritize America approach to Ukraine. And because people are litigious, that's all I feel like I can say about it right now. I've got more information. Happy to share more as I'm able, but I'm seeking additional advice on how to share that with you. But I wanted to share with you as much as I could because I put it in the title. There's some kind of Ukrainian compound, and that's where I believe, if I'm not mistaken, again, I could be wrong, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I thought the brother. I thought the CFO at TPUSA was something else, some kind of elected official in Arizona or something. I didn't think his name was Justin McCoy. I think it was Justin something else, wasn't it? Justin Strafe. No, that's cheap. I don't see a Justin McCoy, and I don't know that that's accurate. I could be wrong. Do a poll for your research group, 1, 5, 10, etc. You talking about dollars? I will. I could do that. I could reach out. Again, it's not like a soak the rich type thing. I'm not trying to drag a bunch of money out of this project. I'm trying to find a way to incentivize people to participate. You get a little skin in the game. You want to do a good job. But also limit the amount of people involved. I can't do it with 4,000 people on a call. You can't possibly bounce ideas off each other. It's too many. You'd have to get it down to hundreds at the most. Have you looked at the Zealous Monkey scream name? Yes, we did that last episode. That deal with CSAM as well as Norfolk. Oh, have I looked at it at the FBI field officer that deal with CSAM in Norfolk? Pretty good confirmation of your compromise theories. I've looked at it a lot of places. I looked at it in Virginia. I will take a picture of this and I will follow up. There we go. I heard that Charlie's there cheering you on. Is he? Oh, you mean knocking stuff off my shelf? Hey, Charlie, find some other way to do it without freaking me out. I wish I could show you what's falling, but that might give too much information. There's some private stuff up there. It's got pictures of family and everything like that. All right, next story. Yeah, next story. I'll make sure I got all those. Yeah. All right. I want to play detective with you for just a second. I'm going to share my screen. I want to point out a couple of things. Number one, I want to point out just how many private jets these TPUSA people fly on. Because there's a lot of money running through that place. When I travel, I fly commercial. Typically like a discount, like Southwest or something, right? Not the TPUSA people. No, friend. They are not going to fly commercial. Here is one of the flights. Do I need to make that bigger? Here is one of the flights. Now, this one went at 12:27 Mountain Standard Time, went from Scottsdale to Provo. It left Arizona. That would have been 1:30. It left Arizona about 1:30. So less than an hour after Charlie Kirk was shot down, it would have left Scottsdale and went to Provo. Then it went from Provo back to Scottsdale like 40 minutes later. So what I can't tell is, then it went from Scottsdale to Ontario. So what I can't tell is, did somebody get on Ontario, meaning California, not, oh no, Canada. I thought it was Ontario, California. Now that's weird. That was the next day. So that might be a charter plane. That might be going somewhere else. But I'm pretty sure the Scottsdale to Provo back to Scottsdale, that's either somebody coming from Arizona to Provo, like in the wake of Charlie being shot, like a wife perhaps, or a family member, a friend, or a co-employee, maybe Andrew Colvette, somebody. And then the return trip could be someone going back. Or that's option one. Someone went one way or both ways. Or nobody came from Scottsdale. The plane came from Scottsdale. It would make sense. There's a charter company it's called like Paradise Jets or something. There's a charter company in Scottsdale that they appeared to use a lot. And it would make sense to me that if you're calling a plane, you're going to call the place that you know has planes and that you have a relationship with. Put it on our account, for example. You don't need my insurance. You don't need my, all my payment information. Just put it on our account. You know we're good for it. And then they'll send a plane. It's not that far. It's an hour. So I don't know whether someone came from Scottsdale within an hour of Charlie Kirk being shot, or the plane came from Scottsdale to pick someone up in Provo to go back to Scottsdale. One of those two things happened. I guess the third option is someone came from Scottsdale and someone went back to Scottsdale from Provo. But you'll see this thing is in Scottsdale a lot. I think this is one of the planes that's based out of Scottsdale. So that's plane one. That's one plane that we're aware of on that day on that ground. This is plane two. Now, these are not Egyptian planes. These are not military planes. These are probably almost assuredly, these are like charter jets. This one comes from San Antonio to Provo. Again, pretty good evidence that this is a charter that they've called. The plane is not in Scottsdale. I don't think anyone on the TPUSA team or anybody from the Kirk family was coming from Texas. I could be wrong. But it looks like this plane was called, and they're like, yes, I'll get you a plane, and we'll have one there at 8:23 Mountain. It comes at 8:23 Mountain. It takes off at 8:56, headed to Scottsdale, diverts at some point, I don't know why, to Phoenix Deer Valley, not far from Scottsdale, 15, 20 minutes away. And then back for the next day from Phoenix Deer Valley, back to Provo, Provo to Salt Lake back to Arizona. I would guess that is picking up more TPUSA or family. This is the second private jet flying at the time. And this one made multiple trips, not just the two you saw. Third private jet. And we'll see this private jet has been used multiple times by the Kirk people. I almost said the Kirk clan, but that's kind of Scottish, right? This private jet was used multiple times. This, as you see, is a G5. That's the thing there, September 10th, from Scottsdale to Salt Lake. I believe, I was told, and I think this came from Candace. It could have come from someone else. I listened to a lot. I think it was her that she said there was something that Charlie had to do in Salt Lake that morning. And so that explains why the early leaving Arizona time and why the early arrival and going into Salt Lake instead of to Provo. So this is the plane that took Charlie from Scottsdale to Salt Lake. And then it leaves Salt Lake 37 minutes after Charlie Kirk is shot and lands an hour and 11 minutes later in Scottsdale. It's only on the ground for 21 minutes in Scottsdale, and then it's back on the ground 59 minutes later in Provo. Back on the ground 59 minutes later in Provo, and from there it goes to California, California back to Provo, Provo to Phoenix, and then days go by. Now, I know for a fact they're still using this because, look, this is obviously a plane they use often, if not exclusively. In other words, this plane could be one of two things. It could be a charter plane they use, or they own it, or I don't think they own it because I know who owns it, but it could be a plane that only they use, like they have exclusive use of it, they're leasing it or whatever from the owner. That could option one. Option two is it belongs to some sort of charter plane company, but this is a plane they're very comfortable with. Maybe they know the crew, the pilot, the company that owns it, and they have some sort of an agreement with them. But this October 29th in Oxford, Mississippi, this was the turning point event where J.D. Vance spoke, where Erika Kirk was on stage with J.D. Vance, mourning as she was. So I know this. Now, I will say this. I've lined up some of these dates from these three planes that I know were associated with Talking Points USA people with other events going on around the country, different people being in different locations. FBI director being at his home in Las Vegas, for example. Is there a plane in this group that's there at the same time? For example, Vice President Vance being in California. Is one of these planes there at the same time? In other words, is Mikey or one of the, I don't know, is somebody hanging out at this? I don't know. I've lined these up, and there's some interesting connections. I'm working on that story. That is not the big story I'm working on. That is a side story. I think it's interesting to me. But I want to let you know what I'm thinking about and why I showed you that. It's called foreshadowing in the business. Foreshadowing. One day, I'll cover a story and you'll look back and go, I remember when he covered that. I remember. Ooh. Okay. I want to make sure I didn't show that page because it had the private information I was referencing earlier about Charlie Kirk that he was private about and did not want shared. Okay. So done with that one. On to this one. This has to be one of the weirder stories I've ever seen. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has taken upon itself to not only provide assistance to the Utah State Police and the Utah County Sheriff's Department investigating the murder of the beloved Charlie Kirk at the age of 31. Doting father of two though he was. the FBI director's girlfriend posts this, which is a little weird. Let's be honest. What an honor to work with TPUSA for the last almost 10 years now. Like, this was posted yesterday. Of all the things you could post right now, if your name is Alexis Wilkins, and I don't know her, I've never heard of her until this story. I don't follow her music scene, I guess, or maybe she's not as popular as they say. I don't know. But of all the things you could say at this point in your life, pointing out that you've worked for the organization that people are suspecting insiders might have killed their founder while your boyfriend is supposed to be investigating it is not high on the list of things that you should be saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. There are some discretionary things you should have left out of this post, namely all of it. Every word. Every word of this should not have been a post. What an honor. If you just put what an honor, people say, what an honor to what? And then speculation would run rampant. Oh my gosh, are they getting married? What an honor to work with. Oh, who do they work with? The Ukrainians? The Egyptians? What are we doing? But the moment you said, what an honor to work with TPUSA, and then you went and rubbed it in the last 10 years. Bad look. Bad look. Couldn't be worse, frankly. Couldn't be worse. Do you know how many people don't trust your boyfriend's investigation right now? Like people that work for the government in the national intelligence community? People like Kent? People like Gabbard? You understand that, right? Like legitimate Senate-approved confirmation appointees leading massive government intelligence agencies don't trust your husband or your boyfriend. They don't trust your boyfriend to lead a good investigation. And you're rubbing in that you work for the place that should potentially be investigated. Getting to tell my story of my time in college. Overturning discriminatory grades. What does that even mean? That's the first time I've heard the expression in my entire life, discriminatory grades. What the hell is a discriminatory grade? Coming up with ways not to write papers I disagree with. What are you saying? To a room full of college students on campus was so full circle. That doesn't even make sense. Like came full circle? You need a verb. What's a discriminatory grade? Why are you coming up with ways not to write papers you're assigned? I mean, you don't have to agree with the paper to write a paper. You're a college. Well, you're not a college student. This is, you never have to bend the knee to accomplish your goals and ambitions in life. What a horrific turn of phrase. Let's be honest. What a horrific turn of phrase. So I read that and I think, gosh, what a horrific judgment call that was. That whole post. What a horrific judgment call. And then I see this. What the hell are we doing? The director of the FBI is puffing his chest out and pointing his finger in the chests of people who are, I don't even know what they're doing. Talking about his girlfriend? I'm proud of the work of the FBI. Good. Stop there. In post. Transmit. That's it. That's all you have to say. The moment you say too much or you say weird stuff, that's the moment you've made a bad turn. We're taking violent criminals off the street in record numbers. That's debatable, but okay. Crushing the fentanyl crisis. It'll be crushed when the last person has died from it. As long as we're all driving around with Narcan in the car because there are junkies all over the streets looking like a Michael Jackson Thriller video, you have not crushed anything. Dismantling cartels. Bruh. The cartels are doing fine. Saving children. Okay, good. Hunting down terrorists. That's so 2010. That's so George W. Bush. Can we not go that route? Can we be a little more specific these days? That's played out. That's played out. That's like playing a Hootie and the Blowfish song. They're fine. Everybody liked it back in the day. We're done. We're done with it. It's like Nickelback. Everybody liked Nickelback. But I don't want to post talking about how I'm going to play Nickelback tonight. If I do that, people aren't going to read it. Let me be clear. We will not... Just ignore it, bro. You're the director of the FBI. Criticize me all you want. And now you're going to do this? Dude, you're the director of the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. J. Edgar Hoover? James Comey? I mean, these were like household names. And you're using your bully pulpit to stick up for your gal? I'm sure that's cool and all. But your gal just posted that she worked for 10 years for the place that you're supposed to be investigating. Attacking her is just wrong. It's cowardly and jeopardizes our safety. I'm not making the connection. How does that jeopardize our safety? My love of family will always be my cornerstone. She's not your family. She's your girlfriend. You just identified that. She's not your family. I mean, between the two of them, I lost a little bit of faith in the FBI today. I am not one to say that lightly. Okay, I say it pretty lightly. In fact, I have called for the FBI to be disbanded many, like 100 times publicly. So maybe I do say it lightly, but you know how low of a I thought of the FBI, and now I think lower of them. I didn't know it was possible. It's like someone tells you something, and you're like, "Man, I hated Al Qaeda before, but damn, really? They did that, and now you think even less of Al Qaeda." That's where I was. And then this, to give me even less faith in the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I get this. And I'm not going to go there yet, but let me just play the roll tape. Because when you hear this, I want to know if you hear the same thing I hear.
How do you feel about that?
There were cameras all over my husband when he was murdered. There have been cameras all over my friends and family mourning. There have been cameras all over me, analyzing my every move, analyzing my every smile, my every tear. We deserve to have cameras in there. Why not be transparent? There's nothing to hide. I know there's not, because I've seen what the case is built on.
Wait, what? You've seen what? You've seen what? How? How have you seen what the case is built? You're not even a witness to the case. You weren't even there. Of all the witnesses that the judge was talking about putting a gag order on, I don't think you're there. I don't think you're on his radar. How have you seen the case, the evidence the case is built on? I'll play it again. Just play that part again. Because when I heard him, I fell down out of my chair. I thought, I've tried a lot of cases. Never before have I seen a witness before the discoveries even happened that knew what the case was built on.
There's nothing to hide. I know there's not, because I've seen what the case is built on.
I thought it was weird again, the sequence of events here is Alexis Wilkins, who I've learned of in the last couple of weeks. I've learned her name. I never knew who she was before. Apparently sings and dances or something like that. Maybe line dances or something. Kidding about that part. She writes a post saying, I work for the company that is the subject of this investigation. Oh, yeah, and he's my boyfriend. The FBI director is my boyfriend. And then the FBI director writes and says, why y'all talking bad about her? Bro, because of what she just said. That's why. And then Erika Kirk gets up, who's not even a witness, and says, oh, yeah, they've shown me everything. How? How have they shown you everything? And does this extend to other non-witnesses? I'm not a witness. Do I get to see everything? Of all the things we're told that jeopardize the case, of all the things we're told that jeopardize, this could be it. This could be it. If I'm Tyler Robinson's defense counsel, I'm jumping up and down in court asking to see what she saw. You're showing randos. You're showing randos. I would like to see it as well. I would like to see it as well. So that was weird, but that's not the only weird thing. Here, and again, I don't want to pull all of that here. I don't know where he got this information. I saw the news story that said mid-July, but I want to point out this. I have a question. Is it common knowledge that TPUSA submitted the request for the UVU venue on July 18, 2025 at 10:08 a.m.? That's so specific. I feel like he had to see that somewhere. Like, if you're going to make that up, you use round numbers. Like, you don't say 10:08. You say 10 o'clock or mid-morning or that morning or in the morning or on the morning of July 18th. Or you just say July 18th. 5 days after the Josh Dave debate and 2 days before all the searches started. It's actually about the time. The searches started about the day after the Josh Hammer debate, if we're being honest with each other. Does everyone know that? Don't want to waste my time with a video if they do. And apparently there's a video that says it here. So I'm kind of, because I'm limited on time, I'm kind of going with that. Because I did see the news report that said mid-July. I tried to freeze it a couple of times while they were putting a document up. I didn't see a date or time on it, but maybe he saw that somewhere. But boy, does that line up. Because now think about what I said about Tyler James Robinson a little bit ago. Think about what I said about Tyler James Robinson a little bit ago. And think about what Ian Carroll said about Tyler James Robinson on this program. If you believe he did it, the timeline just keeps collapsing in on itself. Because if you believe they did not release the location as UVU Courtyard until the day before, as Ian Carroll suggested, or even if you go back a week and say, well, maybe somebody leaked it as soon as they announced it, okay, that's still only a week. You still, if you're Tyler James Robinson and you believe the official narrative, you don't know the security plan. There could be drones all over the place. As soon as you climb up on the roof, bang, you're caught. I mean, I've been at these big events, and I know that there's a way to get the stage cleared instantly. This moment danger is suspected. That's why I was shocked they didn't do it in Butler, Pennsylvania. But if you had a drone in the air and you saw a guy dressed in black taking a sniper position, there would be a way, whether it's a word or a phrase or a tone that goes out over the radio, there is a way to get the stage cleared. There's a way to get the protectee in protection. Boop. Everybody get him. And away he goes. You don't just leave him there as a sitting duck. How would Tyler James Robinson know that kind of a protocol is not in place? I would assume it was if I was trying to. I would never do that, but if that was my jam, I would assume it. I would assume it. Now, as ridiculous as the official narrative is, I want to take you back to May of this year. Or maybe it was May of last year. Hold, please. No, it was last year. I want to take you back to last year. Kash Patel is not the FBI director. And you'll notice sometimes when people don't hold a position, they get big britches, right? They get big britches. And they think to themselves, well, what I would do is this, that, and the other. And they get that cowboy swagger. And they leaning back and they're holding a fake cigar. Like they're handing, like, you know. Well, Kash Patel has fallen victim to this because what you're going to hear, and then I want you to compare it to what's happened. Like, what you hit, I want you to keep a couple of key facts in mind. He's blocking Joe Kent and Tulsi Gabbard from investigating the Charlie Kirk murder. And then contrast it to what you're about to hear. Blocking them, and then contrast it. Because this is got to be one of the greatest nana boo-boo things I've ever come across. This is fantastic stuff.
Then we need to decrease what I call government creep with personnel. The FBI's footprint has gotten so freaking big. And the biggest problem the FBI has come out of its intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state.
Has anybody been to the Museum of the Deep State at the FBI Hoover building? I have not. I have not. What kind of curation do they have? Have they, for example, a wing on federal corruption? Do they have a wing on federal corruption? Agents who delete text messages, for example, like the scumbag that I know about in the Middle District of Alabama who deleted 8,000 text messages. Do they have that guy? What about the ones who planted evidence that turned out to be fake? Do they have a museum on that? What about successes? I mean, surely there are successes the FBI has. Have they opened the Museum of the Deep State at the Hoover building? How much is the entry fee? What does it cost to go there? Is Kash's office at the museum?
And I take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go.
Has he done this? Go be cops. Has he done this?
Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops.
Are there still 7,000 employees at the FBI Hoover building? The museum, excuse me. The Museum of the Deep State. In other words, Kash, did you campaign for a job on something you're not doing? We say this about politicians all the time, but you appointees are not much different. You guys say things in order to get appointed. I was excited when you got appointed. Museum of the Deep State? Are you kidding me? Hilarious. I'd like to go.
Go chase down murderers and rapists and drug dealers and violent offenders. What do you need 7,000 people there for?
It's a great question. Are they still there? Are they still there at the Museum of the Deep State? Or I'm sorry, I'm getting a comment here that they have not opened a Museum of the Deep State, which is shocking because Kash just promised they were going to. Day one.
Same thing with DOJ. What are all these people doing here? Looking for their next government promotion, looking for their next fancy government title, looking for their parachute out of government. So while you're bringing in the right people, you also have to shrink government.
And I wonder whether he shrunk it. I'm not going to play the rest of it, but I see stuff like that, and I think, why are we not holding these people to account? Why is some Republican, because I doubt maybe a Democrat would do this, why is some congressman, when they have their hearings and Kash Patel is there in his suit with his 7,000 employees just coming from the Hoover building that's not a deep state museum yet, Kash? Why is some Republican not sitting up and playing this can we dim the lights, please? I've got a video I'd like Mr. Kash Patel to, the director. I'd like the director to respond to this video. And then play the video. And then lights up. How much is the entry fee to the Museum of the Deep State, Kash? Which room houses all the deep state shenanigans? Which one? Which one? Surely it's there. How could it not be there? How could it not be there? You promised me it would happen. Okay, real quickly, I want to get to some of these. Reverend said both his sons at TPUSA. I heard that, but I don't know. Both sons. Guys, I got it. Zamit. Get it? Zamit? I don't know if it's Zamit, but Zamit. I don't know if he meant to double spend, but I appreciate it. I saw Pastor McCoy say his 2 sons work there. His other son, Justin, is CFO. I don't know why he has a different last name. A little weird. But hey, we're a progressive people. You think he took his wife's name? Oh, excuse me. Think he took his wife's grandfather's name? Fight the patriarchy. After regularly making up to 6 flights daily, our beloved SpyJet seems to have taken its last flight on October 21. You're talking about, Axel 10, November 1098 Lima. I did not know that. That was the one that made the 2 passes flying just mere feet above the ground at minimum speed, almost stall speed. Can we please get the Russian out of the chat? I'm not watching that chat right now. I don't know who it is. Give me a name and I'll try to get him out. Tyler Boyer and Erika Kirk's mom both ran Traction app and website promoting election votes and Ukraine. Have quote from CK also promoting Ukraine on About page, even though Charlie Kirk was against them. Sus. I'm having to decipher that. Okay, I believe you. I mean, I don't have any reason to dispute you. And thank you. Very generous donation. And I just can't comment about the veracity of that. I don't know. If you're telling me that, I have no reason to doubt you, but I don't know. Techie head. Kash, I like that stylized S there. Kash used my taxpayer dollar, and mine, presumably. Money's fungible. To take his rented private jet to hook up with his girlfriend who has suspected Israeli connections. I don't know anything about, that's the first I'm hearing about suspected Israeli connections. I know nothing about that. And maybe they're not hooking up. Maybe they're just holding hands. Maybe they're saving each other for marriage. I mean, I don't know. She might be wholesome. She might be the most wholesome person there is. I don't know. I don't know her. I don't know her reputation. Does she sing like Christian songs or does she sing like, I mean, it's country, right? Can't be that Christian. It's all about getting drunk and hooking up. I mean, that's typical country. I'm not saying that's you, Alexis. I don't know. And I'm probably not going to subject myself to them if we're being honest among friends here. Elizabeth McCoy's maiden name is Kravchuk. Yeah, we covered that last time. First democratically elected president of Ukraine was Leonid Kravchuk. That's correct. I don't know if they're related. I don't think they are, but I don't know that they're not. I will say her, all her bio is a little, on the Kravchuk side, is a little vague. So very well could be. I don't know the answer to that. Could be. It is vague. The other side, one of the other sides, she's very public about, like talks about her grandfather who was in a gulag for sharing the gospel and all that. But I haven't heard much about the Kravchuk side. I don't know if they're related or not. But I have noticed that, obviously. Let me give you another Kravchuk story. So believe it or not, there were 2, this is important, I think. It's important in that it's supposedly not important, and I tried to make it important, and I can't make it important, so therefore it's important. There were 2 Kravchuk families in Santa Barbara at the same time. What are the odds? What are the odds? One of them moved back to Omaha, Nebraska. The Kravchuks in Nebraska. Kravchuks in Nebraska. Elizabeth Kravchuk McCoy. There were Kravchuks that also lived in Santa Barbara at the exact same time, and they moved back to Nebraska. They were Catholic. I know that because I saw a bulletin where Patsy Kravchuk, not the Elizabeth Kravchuk family, but the other Kravchuk family that I just can't tie them together. I've tried. When she was still in Santa Barbara was in a church bulletin hosting something. So a Catholic family named Kravchuk in Santa Barbara at the exact same time that has, in the not too distant past, moved from Santa Barbara to Nebraska. I don't know what to make of all that. When I first came across it, I thought, wow. And this would be something great for my membership crew to get on. Like we would get together because I spent a long time with like 13 different open screens trying to connect it, asking ChatGPT and Grok and Claude all these questions, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't. I tried, guys. I saw it. I tried. I couldn't make it happen. Do we think Kash is trying to get off this case on purpose? Let's not use that phrase, sir, when we're talking about Miss Wilkins. Oh, you're talking about the Tyler James. Oh, I'm sorry. Scratch that. This is not an Alexis Wilkins comment. Do I think Kash is trying to get removed from this case? To get removed from this case on purpose? No. No, I think his girlfriend worked there for 10 years. I think he has a deep-seated interest in, I don't know. Worked there, worked with them, whatever. I don't think she was like a daily employee. I think she just showed up at events. I don't think I've ever seen her cry even one time during this whole debacle. Are you talking about Erika? Because we don't criticize grieving widows on this program without evidence. We don't criticize grieving widows on this program without evidence. If you have evidence, bring it. But a subjective determination that there's not enough saline dripping out of the eyeballs is not going to cut it. Erika's fake. Oh, come on. You can't even make that be the Flintstone gay. Like that, you can't even do that one. Like that's, I'm not seeing it. Or at least we're not covering it that way. We're just not going to. I don't have, listen, this is, I'm being serious here. Let me stop being funny for a second. I don't have a template for how a widow who's 36 years old, who just lost her 31-year-old husband of two very small children, father of two very small children, who was leading a company with 700 plus employees, who was obviously bringing home the bacon, and people who have a lot of assets, have a lot of bills. I have no template for how that grieving widow is supposed to respond. None. I don't know the answer to how that should happen. I don't know what she's like in real life. I don't know if she was a big crier. Some women aren't. And there'd be a lot of pressure to be a crier. Like, I would have a hard time crying. I'm not a big crier. That doesn't mean I've never cried. Of course I have. But I'm not a big crier. Like, I don't cry at movies very often. Maybe the end of The Notebook or something. The Pianist. But I'm just not a big crier. And maybe she's not. And maybe she tries to fake it because she thinks she's supposed to. I don't know. But I do know that I'm not going to criticize her. Not without evidence. Like if you say, here's a link to a video where Erika Kirk is overheard telling someone blank, I got it. Now let's criticize her. Short of that, I'm not going to criticize the grieving process. I'm just not. I'm a little bit behind on your show, but I've been verified, and looked her up as well. I also looked up Tyler Boyer and a few others. Lots of money among those people. Thank you for sharing as you have. I also looked up Tyler Boyer. Also was advised by a friend of mine today not to talk about Tyler Boyer. So I won't. All right, let me see the text I got. It said, and I do believe it's right here. Oh, no, I probably can't even read that. I can't even say what I've responded because that might get me sued. It might have made a suggestion. Well, no, I can't even do that. Guys, it's so hard being me right now. So hard. The amount of like between the lines I got to walk at times. Very difficult. If we steel man for Erika Kirk, what are her options? Can I ask you a question? Honest question. I hear this phrase steel man all the time. I had never heard it 3 years ago, 5 years ago. This is not a word I grew up hearing. Like 1995 me had never heard steel man. I don't think 2005 me had heard it, and 2015 me may not have heard it. 2025 me hears it all the time. Like every podcast I listen to, they're like, well, let's steel man this. Who's pushing this phrase? Like, where's this coming from? It seems organic. Hey, it seems fake and gay. I don't mind it, though. I like it. It's a cool concept. It's rare that a word in the lexicon just comes out of nowhere and dominates every show. That's weird. If we steel man for Erika Kirk, what are her options, considering the protection of her kids and Charlie's legacy? Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. That's why I can't criticize her. Because I don't know what I would do, and I don't know how my wife would react in that situation. My wife's not as public as Erika Kirk was. But I don't know how a grieving, I mean, I'm not trying to cover for her. I'm not trying to this or that. I don't know how a grieving widow is supposed to act. I just don't. And so this is genuine. This isn't me like, I'm afraid I'll get sued. No, I'm not. I don't care. I'm not afraid of that. I don't know. I don't know the answer with her. And I cannot entertain. I'm not going that direction. I'm not going to entertain that when I don't know the answer. Mr. P.G. Whitaker, the second. That's a weird icon you have there with the eye and the pyramid. TPUSA had permission to fly their drone that day, but it was denied the day of the event by UVU. Said it made the campus seem like a police state. Do we have a link for that? Is that true? Because I have seen drone footage from that day before the event. I don't know that it's public, but I've seen it. So maybe while the drone was up, they made him bring it down. I don't know. But I do know a drone was in the air at one point before the event. Steelers girl. Also, TPUSA staff said they asked UVU police to get access to the roof, and UVU said they didn't have the keys. No keys needed anyway. Is that true? There's so many angles to this story. So many angles to the story. If that's true. I don't know if that's true or not. Look at EK's socials. Dramatic tone change regarding CK towards the end of June. July 15 Insta post caption, the one shot. I have not seen any of that. I'll go back and look. Still not going to criticize a grieving widow on that. I mean, unless one of her posts is like, I'm going to kill my husband in September, which I doubt. I hope not. That's me, and I have the proof. Who's you? What proof? Send me the proof. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. Nicole, very kind. Thank you, Nicole. You should have way more subscribers. Your focus and queries should embarrass the FBI. I think they do embarrass the FBI, Nicole. I think they do embarrass the FBI. I don't know that I'd go work for the FBI, though. I don't want to say that. I have a reason I wouldn't, but I don't know that it's proper to say. I'm willing to entertain an offer. I'll say that, but it better be a good one. Laura Loves, 1214. He's going on her social media defending her. I assume PW means what we all think it means. And I would say probably. That seems about right. I mean, you're right. It's weird. It's totally weird. I mean, like, was J. Edgar Hoover going on the social media equivalent of the day defending the guys he cross-dressed with? I doubt it. I've not seen those defenses. Was James Comey going on there defending his fellow members of the Communist Party? No. No. If Kash gets fired, does his girlfriend stay? Is she employed by the FBI? Or you mean stay at TPUSA? Or stay where? Stay where? I ought to be careful. She lives in Nashville. That means he flies here a lot. Don't answer the door. Baron, I made the video under my comment about July 18, 2025 at 10:08. Oh, that's you. I show the proof of when it was submitted by TPUSA. I have it pulled up, I think. Let's go back. Maybe. I still have it pulled up. Come on. Tell me I didn't close it out. That would be lame. Is that it? Is that it? Is that it? I think I closed it, but it's going to be in my history. I'll find it. Maybe next show. Do not send another donation with it. I'll find it. I'll find it. So don't. I don't want you to feel like you got to pay more money to send the link. I'll find it. Nah, you can't making a blessing. You guys don't quit. You don't quit. I mean, I'm over here being the good guy. And nobody likes a nice guy. I get it. But I'm over here being the nice guy. I'm like, hey, give it, she's a widow. She got 2 young kids. I don't even think JD's that into her. Is Barron going to solve September 11th? It's already solved. It's already solved. We've already solved it. Tucker Carlson solved it. 5-part series. Boyer flew a drone that day, posted on social media. That might have been where I saw it. I didn't think the video I saw was public. But if so, that might be where they got it from. I'll look at his and see if it's the same. Holy mackerel. Ian, thank you. Awesome show. Your praise means a lot. It really, really does. It means a lot because you do a fantastic job. The way you carry a live is nearly incredible. And for you to say that means quite a bit. If you don't follow Ian on his 39 different platforms, right? I'm on YouTube. I got an X feed. That's it. That's the only place you can get me. Ian, he's like, if I've heard of it, I got one. I think he's on like Canadian social media. I don't know, man. He's on everything. TikTok and the other day, where was he the other day? Twitch. He's becoming the king of Twitch. Ian Kirk. There he is right there. Becoming the king of Twitch. And when you watch him on there, the comments are just, it's like the circle on The Price is Right. When they turn it, that's what the comments look like. I have no idea how many people are watching. The original mystery plane, why was UVU listed as the airport badge affiliation for Derek Maxfield? I don't know. I don't know that that's true, but that was the original mystery. That was the mystery plane that kicked off all the mystery. You remember that? Do you remember where you were? I remember where I was. I was right here in front of this computer. No, that was the first time I thought, it's a little weird. Because I first heard that and they said, a plane left Provo right afterwards and turned its transponder off. And I thought, no, come on. That's not true. And I looked at it. I was like, all right, maybe it's a little true, but I'm sure there's a good reason. And then I heard the reason. I'm like, it sounds bad. Now, maybe they didn't have anything to do with it, but that sounds terrible. Just after famous people get shot, leave your transponder on, would you? Would you, please? Not when it counted, obviously. Oogie? I don't remember what you're talking about. I'd have to go back and look, and I don't know where it was. If July Israel search date range, you talked about the same time frame that TPUSA signed the papers for the Utah event. Yes. Yes. What a great comment, Starby. This is what I mean by good comments make the host look good. Because you just asked a comment that allows me to tie in a bow for people who obviously aren't making the connection. Not only July Israel, but also July Huntsville and July District of Columbia. In July, there's a window about a week on either side of July 20th. So it starts about July 13th or 14th, and it goes to about July 28th, where there's this flurry of searches. You remember how tonight all the Egyptian searches started in August? Just about, Hunter Kozak being the lone outlier. But and let me tell you, I did not show you every search that I did. They all started in August. I showed you the big names that everyone would notice, so I wouldn't have to go back and explain who people were. I ran 50, maybe 100. Nah, I'm not going to lie to you. I ran 50, maybe 60. And I would say 80% of them were in August. Guys, that is weird. That is weird. That's the key. That's the theme of the Charlie Kirk investigation. That is weird. It's just weird. I don't know any other way to say it, guys. It is weird. It's weird. Yes, the July Israel search date range is the same time frame that TPUSA signed the papers for the Utah event, because Gal in the chat, who posted on our Twitter feed that I'm going to pull up and probably show you on the next page, or maybe I'll put it on the Twitter feed, my X feed, x.com/realbaronpod, down there on this crawler. You will see that was July 18th at 10:08 a.m., I'm told, by our trusty commenter, who would not pay to lie, I wouldn't think. July Israel is the same time period. This was the day, the UVU request was the day after Charlie Kirk went on his podcast and radio show, talked about John MacArthur, who meant the world to him. I can promise you that. I can't tell you why I know that, but I can tell you it meant the world to him. I can tell you it meant the world to him. The MacArthur name meant the world to Charlie Kirk. And the guy dies, and he takes the opportunity to tell you he died by saying the reason John MacArthur was so awesome was he stood up to people who tried to push him around, and he didn't take their bull doo-doo. Try to keep it clean for the kids. Yes, same time frame. Same time frame. Boyer stated the TPUSA security team had a drone for perimeter monitoring, but not. Oh, did I already play that one? How about the first 200 to 300 that tune into your channel? Pre-exposition. Nicole Josh. Hey, listen. I used to do, and I had a buddy that would come on. He was great. He's got his own channel now. I don't know if he wants me promoting it on this channel, but he's a great guy. We'd come on here and we'd chat, we'd chit chat, and he'd sit over there and I'd sit over here and we'd talk back and forth across the table. And we talked to like 8 people live. And the reason I had several people ask the question, why are you marking all these old videos private, or these member videos? No, they're not. And even if I have members that help me do research or come on midweek lives or off time lives, to help, just to chat and dig through stuff, I still am not going to unlock those videos for those people because they talk about my kids by name. I show pictures. It's like a family thing. And then all of a sudden I look up and there's like one day I have 3,000 followers. And I was like, the hell happened? I'd only had 200 or 300. And that is Nicole's referencing here. And then I look up and there's 9,300 followers. And then Ian Carroll finds me. And then just the next day there's like 24,000 followers. And I think I looked today and they were like almost 40,000. I don't know if we're going to get to 40 tonight or not. Let me check, shall we? Yep, past 40,000 on the program, 40,062. So we'll throw a party. When we get to 50,000, we'll throw a bigger party. Maybe at 100, we'll do a giveaway, like a $1,000 giveaway or some rando or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I would love to get there. And I will not forget you, Nicole Josh, from when you watched way long ago. Mustang Sally, thank you, $5. Colin 89, thank you. I think EK planted in CK's life. F and G FM Candace. That's a lot of letters. Fake and gay. Something Candace. From Candace? Does that mean from? I don't know. I've heard this, that she was some kind of handler. Erika was a handler in Charlie's life. I just don't know. I don't know, man. Again. Do you have 2 kids with someone that you're a handler? I don't know. Patricia is hot. Which one was Patricia? I'll take your word for it. How about that? I'll take your word for it. Scroll back and can't find her. Unless you're talking about another Patricia. I'm not playing. Man, I'm not playing that. I'm not. Gosh. You change the course of history by publishing these searches. Thank you for this. I did talk to somebody who said, I've never seen somebody change the way podcasting is done. And I thought, well, I didn't mean to. I just did what I do. But I'm telling you, I have seen more people doing this, and it's an art, man. It's an art that I've been doing for years. And so sussing out the signal from the noise is kind of an art. And there's technique to it. I could probably sit down and teach you how I do it, and you might be able to teach me how you do it. Maybe we'll come to a better way to do it. But there's an art to it. You can't just throw in a thing and say 2004 to now and then see if it comes up. You can't even really do it with the last year. I get a lot of people very concerned about me because they say, oh, look, here's your name in Israel. Maybe. I mean, noise signal. How are you searching my name? Are you using quotes? Are you searching my name spelled correctly? Most of you haven't spelled it correctly when you've sent me those. Some of you have. What time frame are we using? How do we select that time? You know, there's a lot more to it. A lot more to it than that. Has anything come from the cameraman who filled his lanyard seconds before, who flipped his lanyard, I think you meant, second before Charlie was shot? There was a great catch. Anything on that? No. We've not gotten any more from it. His name was Charles McClintock Wilson. I've shown his pictures on here several times. It's the pictures I used to show you Mikey McCoy before the event. I'm going to run out of water, and when I do, we're going to have to go because my throat gets dry when I talk this much. UVU also left box to check whether TPUSA needed campus police for event on the event forum, which is always standard. Review it and look. UVU also left off box to check. Oh, they're saying they did not need police. I'm going to look at the forum. Apparently, it's linked in that Twitter feed, and I'll find it. Hunter Kozak had an unnatural reaction to someone getting shot, and the bullet obviously coming from behind him. I don't know that it was obviously from behind him. I will say the Range Day Bro video was pretty compelling. I would like to see him get the exact correct angle and hit the exact correct spot. But it was a pretty compelling video. I'm going to skip the next comment. And it might be public information, but I don't feel like it's mine to share. Fitbit. Sorry. And thank you for the generous donation. Crawley, $1.99. Thank you, Crawley. Tammy, McCarthy equals President McCarthy. McCarthyism, anti-war. You talking about Joe McCarthy right there? Is that who we're talking about? He was not president. He was senator from Wisconsin. Did you ever deep dive Utah state-related searches? UVU could have been moved. Hey, yes, I have. I've also done Auburn University because Eric Trump is supposed to speak there. Now, he's a Secret Service protectee, but not everybody who'll be there is a Secret Service protectee. And I've done a lot of the tour dates, and that's the one that worries me the most. I'll say that. I'm not saying that Google Trends is like the Minority Report where you can predict what's going to happen in the future. It's very convenient, particularly on mass shootings, for going back and seeing was anyone in the District of Columbia or Huntsville, or were certain addresses being searched in the days leading up to it or weeks leading up to it were searched. And again, it's like the everything being in August in Egypt. What's up with that? Like all of a sudden in August of 2025, the English speakers of Egypt get very interested in Utah Valley University buildings and landmarks. addresses associated with gun drops and famous people who work at TPUSA. But not ever before then, just in August. A country that doesn't speak English, by the way. Not as its first language, and many of it not even a second language. But they go, and all of a sudden, all these English searches are showing up on Google's trends in August only in Alexandria and Cairo. I just don't buy it. I just don't buy that it's random. I don't buy this random. If you see a guy flip a coin and it lands on heads 50 times in a row, run. He's either a cheat or a demon. There's no in between. There's no third option. Don't be around that guy. Don't be around that guy. I was so excited when your numbers started going up. You deserve it. Thank you, Christy Brown. I was so excited when I saw your donation come in. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. And thank you for the kind words as well. They do warm my heart so well. All my friends are widows of murder victims. All of my friends are widows of murder victims. Stay away from Protocol Widow. She's dangerous to be around. She looks like she's holding a shotgun. Oh, I know who that is. That's the girl from Terminator. We haven't forgotten the hard stuff. EK is okay, protecting kids from perps that took out CK. Maybe you're part of a widows of murder victims group or something, but man, that's tough. All right, Karen DeLong. What about Egyptian planes? Are you done with that topic? I didn't say I was going to cover the Egyptian planes. I think other people are covering that nicely. There were 5 total planes, 2 in Utah on the date that Charlie Kirk was, or one left shortly before he got shot, but 2 were there that same day. And apparently those planes had a nasty habit of being around Charlie Kirk. The only thing I could add to that, I mean, I could redo what Candace did and redo what other people on Twitter have done, but that's not really my style. I like to bring a new take to different topics, maybe things people haven't already said or aren't thinking about. So I'm not really going to cover the planes. My take was the August searches, that the searches only started in August. Except Hunter Kozak, which started, I think, July 20th, which was that weird date. So I hope I didn't disappoint you, Karen. I don't want to disappoint you. I mean, of all the people, Karen DeLong, I don't want to disappoint you. 10th, $4.99. So if they took out Charlie Kirk in public, I'm more worried about her being in danger. Also, do a membership. I'd pay for years only. I might. Again, I want to do the kind of like low-key collab groups. But I can't, if I hit the live button, you see what happens. 5,000 people show up. So I can't do a low-key collab group with 5,000 people. But if I had 200, 300, 400 members, we could get together and have a pretty good chat. And you wouldn't have to pay money to get me to read your comment. I would just automatically read it. Have you done any searches Matless, have you done any searches originating on Salt Lake City leading up to 9/10, or at least see a spike or cluster of searches? Yes. Yes, I have. Not as interesting as you would think. Pull up Alex Jones, ex reporting for booty. Sounds like a porn. Sounds like a Flintstones porn show. Reporting for booty? I'll pull it. I'm not pulling it up here because that doesn't sound like a family show, but I don't mark this safe for kids on YouTube, so I guess I could pull it up, but thank you, Patrick Chania, 6094. Could you set up a locals? That way your local members can post stuff to your locals that can be data points. You might look into that or not. I don't know what that means. Email me, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. Type in the thing, locals members or something like that in the subject, and I'll look for it. No, I'll remember this. I don't know what that means. If you're talking about meeting up in person, I don't know that I want to meet up in person with people I don't know. Maybe one day, but not. I don't want to be Charlie Kirk. I don't want people knowing where I go. All right. Whoa, hold on. I played the Magic the Gathering 20 years ago, still have the card. Oh. So my qualification was furry and played Magic the Gathering. So unless you have a mascot costume and play Magic the Gathering, my comments don't apply to you. But if you have a mascot costume you wear kinkily and you played Magic the Gathering, you probably have not been to a Charlie Kirk event. That was my test. Tyler Robinson probably being the only one in history who's done it. How does VPN affect Google Trends? Great question. I've asked people who would know this. And if you use a VPN, in theory, if the VPN is configured correctly, it should be, it will show, like if you had one that showed you were in Qatar, for example, you logged into a Qatar VPN. That's why, let me pause as an aside. Let me break the fourth wall. That's why I almost did not go public with the Charlie Kirk thing, with the Google Trends, because I thought this would be the last time we can ever do this. Like, I've used this for mass shooters so long to know which mass shooters are total BS and which mass shooters are like actual legitimate psychopaths who on their own decided to go shoot something up. Because the ones that were total BS, their names and addresses and the places they would shoot up, it's all on the District of Columbia Google Trends. I mean, like almost every time. It's weird. They don't use VPNs. If they do, they're set in DC. So this may be the last time we get to do this as a group. I don't know. They'll forget about it. And people are lazy. You know, they look things up on their phone. They don't know if their VPN is on. They look things up on their computer. Sometimes the VPN's a little laggy, so they cut it. They don't use it. But the VPN should affect it if they're using it. But here's my question. Here's my point, rather. If you know there were 75 searches originating out of Egypt relative to this case only in August, and you're the FBI or you're the counterterrorism official or you're the ODNI, and you don't look into that, like even if it's somebody using a VPN, that pattern is so devastatingly damning that someone should look into it. And the VPN companies should be able to say, it's a VPN. It's coming from our VPN servers. Maybe they can tell you who did it. Maybe they couldn't. But I think it rules out randomness if it's the same person doing it all. See what I'm saying? Great show. 4.9 watchers, 3.9 subs. Remind folks to subscribe. Like the video that gives us coverage that shows up on people's feeds. Now, something I've done the last few days, at the last couple of videos, I think, I've taken little clips where people have asked for them. People say, hey, could you do the only one I didn't do was the clip about Charlie Kirk being a product, and because I felt bad about it, frankly, after I said it. But somebody asked for that clip. I clipped it, put it on my analysis of the Terrell video. Somebody asked for my analysis of the Charlie Kirk show defending Michael McCoy. So I clipped that and I put a video on there. That way you guys can share the video and it's just that 10 minutes or 20 minutes. It's not, here's a 2.5 hour, 3 hour live feed. Now go through it and find what, no. So I'll probably do that from this. Tomorrow someone will ask for some clip of something. If they don't, I won't. But if someone says, hey, can you give me a clip of this? I'll probably clip it out and send it. Excuse me, put it on YouTube. And that way people can see it. So like them, subscribe, notify, all that. I'm not done yet though. But thank you. Thank you. And if we get to 100,000, I'll give something away. It'll be substantial. I won't take you people for granted. So get your friends to subscribe as well. Tyler Boyer's selfie video, he scans for Mikey McCoy. I don't know what video you're talking about. Did Tyler Boyer do a selfie video? Are we talking about Terrell? I don't know what you're talking about. I wish I did. Steelman definitely came from Viva Fry and Robert Barnes' show Viva Barnes. I'll take your word for it. Joshua Lett. My dad passed when I was 9. I knew a lawyer named Willette. Great lawyer, by the way. Great lawyer. That's how I knew how to pronounce it. My dad passed when I was 9. I couldn't cry for months because I had to be strong for my mom, I felt. My mom cried all the time, but not publicly. Brother, you just destroyed me with that comment. I am so sorry that happened to you. You shouldn't have to watch your dad die that young, and you shouldn't have to watch your mom cry, and have to be the strong one at 9. I'm sorry. That's not that they're bad people, obviously. You can't control that, but I hate that happened to you. I hope you talk to somebody about it. Unbiased Need a Truth, $5. I think Charlie was too influential to take out over a small amount of pushback or having Tucker on. You do a great job on your research, though. I don't know. If you'd invested $150, $200 million in somebody to push a certain position, and all of a sudden they said, no, I'm going to push the opposite position, you might want to kill them too. Maybe not. Maybe that's not what happened. Maybe some psycho in 24 hours planned it all and pulled it off. Who knows? I've been calling for FBI, CIA to be dismantled. No oversight, unconstitutional. Ratcliffe has been quiet as a mouse. No argument there. No argument there. UVU has a flight school, so maybe Derek Maxfield was teaching there. I did not know they had a flight school. I did not know they had a flight school. All right, here's some bonus ones. Somebody asked for this. This is the sheriff of Utah County. Somebody asked me on the text a minute ago, and I said I'd look it up. So here's the sheriff of Utah County, District of Columbia search, July 31 and September 2. That's Nate Brooksby. No idea why it's in there. I've done no research other than this. I've not done widening or shortening or anything else. That's what you get. Somebody asked for that. Somebody else asked for this because this was one of the guys in the video I played that had the 4 witnesses that were not afraid to speak. His name was Josh Buchanan, Jason Buchanan. Again, District of Columbia, September 1. I don't know what that means. I have not done enough to rule out this or that. I try not to just bring things publicly like that when I don't have enough to it, but that was a friend of mine asking. All right, let me make sure I covered everything that was on my list. Give me a few seconds. I can't cover that. Gosh, I want to so badly. I want to so badly. Yep. All right, I can't. This is the address that I was talking about where all the people live. There's just things I can't say or do about it. Oh, man, that's the one. I cannot wait to cover this story. Can I give you a hint? Can I give you one little hint? Oh, my gosh, it's going to be such a good story. This topic has been a topic of debate in this country for 15 years, particularly the last, I would say, 10. For 5 years, nobody knew what it was. And then there was like a 5-year run where people were like, I know what it is, but I don't know what it is. And then there's been like a 10-year run where there's been an intense debate over what it is and what it means. And while I was doing some research on Charlie Kirk, I came across a Twitter post of all things, that suggested if we could find out this piece of information, it might help solve instances like Charlie Kirk. That, in other words, maybe they died. We just don't know, but they died because of this other issue. And I thought, because they were like, why is everybody cheesing on Israel? Maybe it wasn't Israel. Why is everybody cheesing on the deep state? Maybe it wasn't the deep state. Why is everybody cheesing on Talking Points USA? Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it was something to do with this other issue. Who knows? And I thought, I've never looked into that issue. So I start looking into it. Guys, within 30 minutes to an hour, I was pacing around my house. Pacing. Like pacing around the house. Back, forth, back. Scared to death at what I was seeing. Because this thing's taking on a life of its own, and I don't think people know what I found. So that was number one. Number two, I mentioned in a previous podcast that I had a working theory on what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania to Donald Trump. And someone asked me, when will you be ready to go public with that? And the answer is, I don't know that I ever will. It's not Israel. That's not the one. But man, it's the kind of thing that'll spook you. Not Israel, not Iran. Those were the big ones that everybody was thinking. So I don't know if I'll cover that. I am going to cover the other one, but I don't want to do it on the same day that I have a bunch of Charlie Kirk information because that one, if I advertise it right, could bring in a weird crowd, a bunch of weirdos. It's not Magic the Gathering. But it could bring in weirdos, and I don't know that I need a bunch of weirdos and then trying to get them caught up on the Charlie Kirk stuff. They'll be asking a bunch of questions. It's like when somebody walks into a movie you're watching 10 minutes before it's over, like, who's that? Shut up. Shh. Does he know they have a gun? Hush. Is he the one that did it? Stop. And I don't need that on the Charlie Kirk thing because you're going to bring in a bunch of people that don't know. You don't know. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. We're coming up on 3 hours of a live stream. You guys have been unbelievably generous to your humble host. Unbelievably generous. Your super chats and your super stickers and your super thanks. I cannot thank you enough for those. They are so unbelievable. That is weird. That would be good because I do say that a lot. And it's because everything's weird about this. You guys have been so unbelievably generous with your time and with your resources. And let me tell you, I've promised you I will not waste your time if I've not prepared for a show. I'm just not going to go live. If I don't go live on a Wednesday or Sunday, I'm probably sick or I didn't prepare. I got busy or I'm out of town or something. And generally, I would try to tell you that probably on X or maybe do like a 1-minute video and send it out just saying, hey, I'm not going to make it this week. I'm not going to show up unprepared and just babble. Because I don't want you to feel like you waste your time. If you come see me, I want you to say, I saw somebody say, what color hoodie is he wearing today? Gray. It's gray. And I have 2 different types of gray hoodies. I don't know how many Adidas hoodies I have. I just grab whatever one's clean on the top. I could always use more. I will use some of these resources from the super chats to go buy more hoodies. But I won't show up and I'll buy some cool colors. I won't show up and not be prepared. I won't. On the trend stuff earlier, it said Cairo governed it. What's that mean? Others just said Egypt. So, good question. You know how the United States is divided into California, Texas, West Virginia. So if you go to Virginia, you can like subdivide it. There's a little arrow out beside it. You could subdivide it down to Charlottesville or Blacksburg. If you go to Alabama, you can subdivide it to Huntsville. I do that a lot on here. I go to Alabama and I subdivide it over to Huntsville in order to capture the FBI location in the northern part of the state, but not capture everything from like Coleman south, right? Or really Marshall County south. Because I don't really care about that. So I just want the Huntsville area, Huntsville-Decatur area. Egypt's the same way. So you can look up Egypt as a whole country, or you can look up their states, what they call governorates. They've got Alexandria, they got Cairo, and then they got a bunch of them that I can't pronounce that are kind of farther down. All the cool intel stuff is in Cairo and Alexandria that I've been able to find. Not a country that lets a lot of information out, though. So it may be that they have other cool intel places that I can't find. I remember not terribly long ago, somebody. Oh man. Somebody not terribly long ago. Hold on, did I play this one? Did I show that one? I did. Thank you again. Somebody commented the other day, oh my gosh, you got 1,100 comments on your live feed, and the day before you only got 400. I think today it was like over 5,000 or something, over 4,000 or 5,000. So on the live feed, I do go back and try to skim them and look for stuff that maybe I missed in the super chats. I do open every email. I cannot promise you I'm going to read every email when they're long. Again, if they start out with glowing praise, you're more likely to get read. And then if they bring things. Now, if you're going to send me a video, please send me a timestamp. Just assume if you send me a video of someone else's podcast, I've probably heard of it, at least aware of it. So you don't have to. You can, but you don't have to. Probably not going to watch the whole thing unless you give me, hey, look at the 38-minute mark. But yeah, thank you. You guys help the show. A lot of the information I get comes from you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I do appreciate it. Again, your generosity means more than you ever know. The best thing you can do for me right now is to share this, like it, subscribe, click the notification window, all the things that every other podcaster you listen to tells you to do. And the reason we tell you to do it is the ability to do this, the success of a program depends on the listeners doing those things. I do those things on the channels I watch. I don't know if you saw when I pulled up YouTube. You got to see like weightlifting videos, Saturday Night Live clips, and some CrossFit competition or something. Because that's that and Charlie Kirk stuff is all I watch anymore. But I do. If somebody produces quality content, boom, subscribe. Boom, notification. Boom, like every video I watch. You guys do the same. I'd appreciate it. Tell your friends about it. Again, we get to 100,000. I will come up with something very fancy to give away. Not like a car, but something nice. And I promise you, you'll have to remind me because I do forget stuff like that. But we'll come up with something, and we'll make it work. Guys, in the meantime, I'll probably see you Wednesday. If I see you before then, that'll just be a happy surprise. If you have anything you want me to clip, let me know. I'll clip it out and put it up. Bye, guys.